Alright, Meow. I hope everyone is doing well on this fine Meownwell Monday. We are picking up where we left off the other day. I hope you had a great rest of your Christmas into your weekend, and now we're back. We had to fight Giovanni 2 twice because the game decided to crash after we beat Giovanni 2 the first time. We're going into Sabrina. After Sabrina, it's Chuck because I want to get my Focus Sash plus Drain Punch. Then it's off to the weather routes. In Rad Red, they made it so cycling route and the route below it, or I think Route 13 and probably 14. I don't know those ones off the top of my head. They each have a weather condition. So cycling route is sand, and then when you get to the bottom half, it's rain. Route 13 is snow, and then when you get to the bottom half, it's sun. I have Steel Mun that can fly, that have Levitate, so they won't be hit by ground. But I only have like one steel type with heat proof, so we're not going through snow and fire. I hope everyone is doing well. We're getting ready for New Year's. That'll be a good bit of fun. I'm probably just gonna stay at home and do nothing because I can't be asked to, leave the house and do any sort of celebrating because, let's be real, it's not a big deal. When I was younger, I always wanted to, and then I did a few times with like one or two friends, and it's like, this is just so meh, you know? I wanted to also dive back into crime coverage. I may have done this one before, whether it was from Dreading or that chapter, Dreading Crime and Psychology on YouTube, of the Jim Can't Swim inspired channels after his channel was initially taken down after his video on Jussie Smollett faking a hate crime for basically for clout. A bunch ended up popping up. It's still grim. This is murder, but there's definitely some humor in it. The way that the victim thinks everything works, the fact that her parents were actually dumb enough to believe it all. There's definitely some laughs that can be had from it, and we can also find satisfaction in knowing the four people that perpetuated this are probably never leaving prison, so it can't happen to anyone else. We need to make a team for Sabrina. I have a pretty good idea what we're going to be doing. This is mono steel, so anyone who is weak to fire, aka most of steel, is either going to need to hold an Aka berry or a Shucka berry because that high horsepower from Ursaluna is going to do major damage.
Nell Potter had a difficult time making friends. The young woman was ostracized by her peers, due in part to her medical issues, and her parents, Marvin and Barbara Potter, tried to protect her as best they could. She was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
So, not diabetes regarding me, but I can absolutely relate to overbearing parents who, in their minds, they mean well. The whole, oh, we're going to keep you safe by not allowing you to more or less have your own life. And if you don't get to experience anything, nothing bad will happen to you type logic. And if I didn't know what happened, I would be all on her side right now. But she leans into it and then exploits her parents. They're all terrible people. I mean, they've all been convicted of murder, so it's fine.
As a child, which her mother helped her maintain. She was also found to have hearing and speech difficulties, which made communicating hard for her. But as children are oft to do, they honed in on what made Janelle different and bullied.
And that's also something I can relate to. Oh, I'm different because even though I don't have hearing issues or diabetes, I was adopted. I have a cough that doesn't go away, which is why I use the push to mute button. This, that, and other thing. And kids are absolute shitters. They will tear into you if you're like even slightly different, and they're really good at picking up on it.
Her relentlessly. When Janelle would explain her struggles to her parents and how others had singled her out and made her feel worthless, they would lash out at those who they were told were targeting their daughter. But that had the opposite effect. Janelle needing her parents to step in to defend her only made her more isolated, and the bullying continued. Marvin, a former Marine who had served in Vietnam and had earned the Navy Cross Medal for his heroism in battle, felt compelled to protect his daughters.
Once again, because I'm aware of this case, I do know what's happening. The father, stolen valor, absolute POS. And he really leans into the whole tactical by having like a bandolier of ammo draped around his oxygen tank, and he's wearing a gun on him at all times, and he has like 60 something weapons in his house. And I'm all for the Second Amendment, but the bandolier of ammo draped over an oxygen tank, that seems a little excessive, you know?
He was strict with both Janelle and her older sister, Christy, often telling them that it was his job to protect them, the only way a father could. He would talk about his time in the Marines, and he, quote, knew how men think, unquote, and therefore he knew what needed to be done to ensure that his daughters were healthy and safe. As the girls grew up, they were both given strict guidelines by their parents. Christy?
Thankfully, as Dreading's about to say, Christy does break away from this toxic family unit, and she is in no way involved in what happens in this case. So I love that for her. She was able to escape, and she's living her best life. That being said, if people know who she is, they're probably aware of the fact that her parents are murderers and her sister's also a murderer. So that's not great. You see that parallel in the Sarah Boone case in Florida, where the son is being bullied because his mom's a murderer, and they end up getting their names changed legally, at least last names, so they can move away and start a new life and be free from that added stress, you know?
She would later break away from the family, realizing in her early adulthood how restrictive her parents were and wanting to make her own way in life. But Janelle never did. She wasn't allowed to hang out with anyone they didn't know, having to meet and approve of her friends themselves. She was given a curfew of
And that was also very much something that happened to me regarding the parents have to personally approve of every single friend. A curfew until really fucking until you're way too old, basically. So a lot of these points are just like hammering home for me. What Janelle's missing out on is, you know, all the abuse, but one could argue helicopter parents being super strict, being oppressive in how they parent is an abuse in and of itself.
Night every night, wasn't allowed to learn how to drive, and she wasn't allowed to date while living under their roof. The rules would have been
I wasn't allowed to date, but at least I was able to learn how to drive. I always used to joke growing up that I'd be allowed to date after my first divorce because it was just, yeah, you're not allowed to. As long as you live under this roof, living here is a privilege, and you have no autonomy. And if you don't like it, just fucking leave, Lamau.
Understandable for a teenager, though they likely would have still found them oppressive. Okay. But as Janelle never moved out of her parents' home, she was still living under these guidelines when she turned 30. Christy would talk about her sister's issues in multiple interviews, stating that her parents would baby the young woman, and she believed that the majority of her medical issues were exaggerated. She would later testify under oath that Janelle would tell her parents that she wasn't able to do something on her own, likened to a medical malady, only to later brag,
malingering. Malingering is exaggerating or trying to feign / play up having an issue for a goal that's usually personally driven. So Letitia Stout making up all her alters and claiming to have this and that because in her mind, oh, if they think I have this, then I can dodge legal accountability and responsibility. And it was 100% malingering. So you're seeing some intent. You're starting to see the kind of person they are, rather than all these things are happening to her kind of like, oh, the woman Munchausen by proxy. Oh, what was her name? I need to look this up because it's going to drive me crazy. It wasn't taking care of Maya. It was the other one. Oh. What is her name? Oh. I know who I'm yes, there it is. Thank you. So, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, where the mom was making up all these health maladies because the mother wanted the attention and wanted the support of the community, and the daughter, Gypsy Rose, had absolutely no agency or autonomy, and the only way she saw to get out of the situation was murder her mother. And she's been released. She was released a while ago, and she's trying to live her best life. I could actually go on a whole tangent about Gypsy Rose, but my point bringing up the Gypsy Rose versus this with Janelle Potter is that Janelle is actively being like, oh, well, I have this health issue and I'm exaggerating it, so my parents will take care of me, or I can't do laundry. Oh, I can't do the dishes. Oh, I can't run errands because X, Y, and Z is acting up, you know?
That she no longer had to do said thing because her parents believed her. Having grown up with Janelle, she saw how Janelle was stifled by her parents' overbearing nature, but also watched as she used that to her advantage. Chrissy discussed how Janelle had a difficult time making friends, not because of her medical issues, but because of the pressure her parents put on her. She was a bit awkward, sure, but her issues were only exacerbated by her parents' continued assertions that she was unable to make friends or do anything on her own. Barbara Potter would contest that notion, stating that Janelle's diabetes was so severe that she could not possibly live on her own. In fact, Barbara would claim that she was Janelle's primary caregiver, managing all aspects of Janelle's treatments of diabetes as her adult daughter didn't know how to. In an interview with 2020 given in 2015, Barbara would state that Janelle didn't have the capacity to fully understand how to treat her own illness, as she had been diagnosed so young and never properly learned how to live with it. Because Barbara had taken care of Janelle's diabetes since her youth, she never thought to teach her daughter how to manage it because, as she stated, she would always be there for her. She also claimed that although Janelle was an adult, she was mentally much younger.
HQ, thank you for stopping by. I hope you, your sister, and your cats are persisting. I'm glad to see you. Hope you had a great weekend, that any missile strikes, mortars, funny third thing have not affected you or your neighbors. And yes, if you're not familiar with this case, Janelle Potter ends up getting 2 friends she knows murdered. Her boyfriend and her parents are all in prison for murder. Oh, funny third thing. Tell me about Stray Cat. We are currently working on a team for Sabrina. It's going to be Sabrina. It's going to be Chuck. It's going to be Weather Route. Trespassed into your room. Oh, okay. This is not the first time Stray Cat... Well, maybe it's the first time it's a stray cat, but I think you've mentioned that your neighbor's cats would like come over to your house. So we love that. All right, so I need 2 more. I think I was gonna bring in Metagross. I need another answer for Ursaluna. Let's see.
Younger than her peers, stemming from their bullying and her isolation. Barbara would say her daughter was mentally in middle school. Her parents meant for these restrictions to protect Janelle, ensuring she was never put in a position.
And yes, I can wholly understand Janelle's situation insofar as overprotective parents who only want the best for their child, and they see fit to basically never let the child out of their sight. Think like the caged bird. It's not allowed to do anything, and by virtue of that, nothing bad will ever happen to it. Okay. I don't know what a punka is. Is that a wild animal in where you live? Okay. I do like that. 4th secret punka. Very cool. All right, so let's see. I think I did want to use Sizor, and I may end up using Sizor. The only issue is if I have Sizor in the lead position, I have to worry about the Mystical Fire. I don't get first impression on Kevin until I get to the other place. I could go Hitchcock for Brute Bonnet. I may have to do that. Let's see who else is currently in the party. Okay, so actually, you know what? We'll go with this and we'll see how this goes. Okay, so we know we need Newt because Newt needs to defog. Let's see. Oh, okay, gotcha. That is very cool. I like that. One of them is Punka. Oopsie doopsies summons all the Punka. That is adorable. Okay, so we need defog on Empoleon. We're gonna give Empoleon a Shucka Berry because it can be a solution to the Ursaluna. We need defog because we need to get rid of Psychic Terrain. So Newt, we're gonna... I think I'm gonna get rid of the Protect for... Actually... I'm gonna get rid of HP Ground for now. We can come back for that if we feel like we really need it still. Let me see. Aleph, Bet, Grimmel. Oh, really? Okay. They do say that orange is the new cat, so that's a good bit of fun. Hopefully the commingling of these cats and your cats doesn't cause too much of a problem for your family unit.
Where she needed her parents when they weren't around, but they had the unintended consequence of isolating the young adult even further. The only respite from Janelle's isolation was the internet, where she would regularly post on social media. But even this small...
And I can relate to all that isolation, but exacerbated even further by not being allowed to have a cell phone until I was like in college and not being able to use the internet at all. So it was literally just me. And I do have a good bit of sympathy / empathy for Janelle up until a certain point.
amount of freedom was monitored by her parents. Neither Barbara nor Marvin knew much about tech in general, but they did what they could to make sure that Janelle stayed out of trouble. When Janelle created her first MySpace and Facebook accounts, they were her first friends, and closely monitored what she posted. In 2005, when Janelle would have been 24, she was given the chance to start over. Her family moved to Mountain City, Tennessee, a small town with less than 3,000 residents. For the first time in her young life, she was given the opportunity to reinvent herself, to take on more responsibilities.
And that's great. It's always a good bit of fun when someone gets the opportunity of, she does a murder. She does a double murder, in fact. And the way she goes about it is actually kind of comical, which is why I'm going with this video. We also have an ad break in about 30 seconds. So after we come back from the ad break, we'll look at some Palace Cats because I know you can't be here long, HQ. Grab some water, grab some pickles or some garlic, you know, just enjoy being here. We will be back shortly. All right, Meow, welcome back. We are going to look at a few more Palace Cats real quick. There were a bunch uploaded, and we love that. So this is Calypso. She is from the litter that Polly was born from. She lives in Sarsbrücken Zoo. This was taken last year. If we click on Calypso, you see she's the daughter of Pabu and Misha. She was born 2015. Sadly, there's a rainbow. She crossed the rainbow bridge. So she's eating all the pika and all the other prey animals at the Great Step in the Sky. Calypso's siblings are Polly, Melissa, Ilos, and Thomas. Then there's also Borsika, Agneta, unnamed son of Misha, Bjorn, unnamed daughter of Misha. Yes, very, very efficient system. Thomas sadly crossed the Rainbow Bridge this year as well, and I fucking hate that for us because he only died at like 8, I think, and the zookeepers were very nonchalant about it, and they were trying to chalk it up to, oh, he was old, so it's okay that he died. When in reality, you have Tabby who is still alive at 16. So I fucking hate that for us. And she's doing a silly. She's looking very round. These are probably all taken in the winter. You don't see any snow, but she's an absolute unit because of winter coat. And a lot of the characters from the litter that Calypso was born in are named after various deities. So, why do they be like that? Well, because people don't want to take accountability. They don't want to take responsibility. Not everyone gets into an industry or a job for the best reasons. It can be. It absolutely can be a way of dealing with grief, yeah. So we see that Calypso, Pabu, Misha, Dandelion was the mother of Misha. Sadly, there's really not much there, but love the grumpy eyebrows. Absolutely, you can see the similarity between her and Polly. I also love that you get to see some of the orange in the coat. Beautiful pink nose. I want to boop it. I love the Pete's just sitting there very politely. They're not even sitting on her tail, so she's not that cold, which is a good bit of fun. Oh yeah, absolutely spill over. So then there was another pretty good one I liked earlier. I mean, they're all pretty good. It's great that we have all these photos so we can remember her post-death. She's living her best life in heaven, and that's what matters. This one also, it's like the gypsy stink eye. You cursed her family or something, so she's very angry. She also could have been woken up by someone, and that's why she looks so mad. Also, this is Polly. You can barely see her over the snow. Her face looks like mad scrungy. You can kind of see it in the eyes. And this was taken last week. Polly, Lev, and Bull are all going strong at least 10 or 11 years old. Yeah, she is absolutely on the hunt. She's also been very busy bullying Lev, and I fucking hate that. But I also understand that they're wild animals, and Polly very much prefers Bull to Lev. Lev has been paired with 5 different female palace cats, and they've only had one litter offshoot from it. So Lev's probably not going to make any more, sadly. Yeah, she is a meanie, but she loves Bull, so that's what matters. Bull's probably the only male palace cat that actually tolerates her BS. Alright, so we're gonna kill the Hatterene, turn 1. We defog to get rid of Psychic Terrain. We have fighting types for Porygon / Ursaluna. We have backup water for Ursaluna. I'm not sure yet about Brute Bonnet. Gardevoir, I have a Steel Poison type. And we're going to see how this plays out. I think I can do it first try, but if Trick Room ends up going out while Ursaluna's out in the open, it's just going to run all over the whole team. Because Flame Orb with Guts, that's big damage. Then it has something to counter basically all my Pokemon.
And to come into her own. She hoped that with the change of environment, she could establish some sort of independence and step out of the shadows. She had never had a job, been on her own to take care of herself, but the promise of a new city made everything feel possible. But in just a few short years, Janelle and her entire family would be sitting behind bars, tried and convicted for one of the most nonsensical crimes we've ever covered. Welcome back to another episode of Dreading, or if this is your first time here, hello there. Today.
And yeah, that's another thing too. It's something to be like, heat of the moment, I'm protecting my child, self-defense gone wrong. There's a lot of things that can explain why a crime had to happen in the mind of the perpetrator, but the catalyst for this is just, it's so nonsensical and it's so little that the reaction to the slight is oopsie doopsies, double murder, poopsie whoopsies, you know?
Today, we are going to be reviewing the case of Billie Jean Wayworth and Billy Payne, two people who would lose their lives, all because of a sheltered young woman's lies. This video, like so many others, came in as a request via email. If there is a case you would like to see more attention brought to, or a topic you think merits a video, let us know by emailing us at dreading.official@gmail.com. We're constantly sorting through all of your recommendations and adding new topics to discuss every day. But with all of that said, let us begin. The move to Mountain City was supposed to signal the start of Janelle's new life, the chance for her to make new friends and potentially stand up on her own 2 feet. However, the opposite ended up being true. According to the young woman, the residents of Mountain City rejected her outright, as they had a negative bias towards people moving into their small town. When she would go out on her own, she once again was...
And I mean, there might be some truth to that. You move to a small community, it's gonna be tight-knit, they're not gonna be fond of outsiders. Like, that absolutely tracks, and I don't hold that against Janelle. But we also don't know how true that is because it's only from Janelle saying that. So, unreliable narrator, what motivation do they have for telling that lie, you know?
Ridiculed and belittled, although she would not go so far as to say how. She would simply state that townsfolk disliked outsiders, and when she tried to establish connection, she was met with hostility. Her posts on social media at the time were extremely general and generic, with her often writing about love, light, and laughter. As she had no social life and her parents believed her to be too ill to go out like other adults, Janelle often wrote about non-specific topics, like feeling good, being happy, appreciating life, were all regular posts from the young adult, and they received little interaction. In the meantime, she would go out of her way to watch the lives of others in her area. She would send friend requests to everyone she would interact with, try to establish some form of connection to the real world. If the person would accept her friend request, she would rifle through their social media, looking through all of their posts, and imagining what she would do in their place. Janelle would fantasize about having a normal adult life, making friends, falling in love, and having a home of her own were all things that...
Yeah, I'm not going to bring Metagross for this. I need someone / something to deal with, Brute Bonnet. Frank Lane? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for the first time chat. I am doing Mono, Steel, and Radical Red. It's a difficulty ROM hack. We're prepping for Sabrina, and we're covering Dreading Crime and Psychology on YouTube. His video on the case of Janelle Potter, aka somebody unfriended me on Facebook and I decided to murder them in a video game. All right.
Felt so far out of reach for the 20-something, but watching others her age and interacting with their social media gave her the smallest insight as to what that might be like. Despite all of the hostility, there would be one person who would be kind to Janelle. Tracy Greenwell was a pharmacist in the small town and would see Janelle every time her mother would bring her to pick up her medications.
No.
They would talk every now and then, and from their few brief interactions, Tracy assessed that the 20-something was extremely lonely and sheltered.
And this part also sucks. Tracy's gonna have to live with a lot of guilt in her mind because Tracy is the one who introduces the killer to the victims. I'm not going to disclose where I'm from. I'm going to say I'm from the US and we're going to leave it there. All right, so if we're not doing that, then I think we do bring in Sizor instead. And we'll have to go safety goggles because I don't want to get put to sleep. And we're going to probably go U-turn to kill the Brute Bonnet. So we need to grab our safety goggles from Hitchcock. Uh-huh. Yes, it absolutely is great. I love that for us. Okay, so yeah, I think that'll work. Let's make sure we have a... Yep, that's fine. It's a bit of a puzzle because it's Sabrina, but we'll be fine. We're double checking natures and items. Okay. Oh, that's right. We need this to be a special attacker because Ursaluna has a lot of defense. Yes, absolutely. Washington, that is cool. I've never been to the Pacific Northwest. I mean, technically I was in Alaska for 2 weeks, but that's not really the PNW.
Her mother was always around, closely monitoring the woman, and Tracy got a sense that she wanted more from her life. Feeling bad for Janelle, she began to talk to the young woman more regularly and would invite her to hang out. Janelle was ecstatic for this change and quickly became a fixture at the Greenwell household. For the first time, Janelle could experience what it was like to have friends, to be important to people outside of her family, and she could see how other families interact.
And if it stopped there, Tracy's a saint. She's introducing a sheltered young woman, trying to be nice to her. And sadly, yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Okay, so because I don't, well, this is complicated. I'm trying to hold my rage in against you because, as I suspected, all you want to do is sell me BS. So I don't have any animated emotes because I haven't found anyone I want to commission emotes from who would actually be able to do what I want. I check the service thread on Twitch once a week to see if there's any artists that are putting out their services that I would be interested in. Okay, so let's see. We want Scald. We need a few other special moves. So we'll go Scald. We'll go, I guess, Air Slash. We'll probably also go, maybe one of the hidden powers if I can't get, what's it called? If I can't get Flash Cannon. Let's see. I mean, that's not bad. It would be ice coverage, so I think I will do that. And then we're gonna keep Aqua Jet. Yeah. Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, no. I figure I gave them the opportunity, and they were gracious enough to show their true colors. I'm pretty sure that's one of my chat rules, so they can go fuck themselves in a video game.
Acted, and the contrast was stark. Tracy would state that during this time, Janelle would often opine about how overprotecting her parents had become. Seeing other young adults be on their own, have their own lives, and be completely independent made her long for what she felt had been taken away from her.
And yeah, that's absolutely reasonable. I know when I would open up to people about, like, they get to have friends, they get to do this and that, and then it's like, oh yeah, meanwhile, I'm stuck at home. I'm stuck sitting on my bed looking at blank walls for 6 months at a time. I'm not allowed to have anything. The contrast is striking. And you don't know how bad you have it until you realize that's actually not the norm.
She would watch her adult friends interact with their parents and see how they still held each other in mutual respect, and she couldn't help but feel as if she didn't have the same relationship with her parents, though she would never express these thoughts to them. When Janelle and Tracy became friends, Tracy's entire friend group opened up to the young woman. She would be invited out with them regularly, and it was on one of these nights that Janelle would meet Tracy's brother, Billy Payne. Billy was described as a funny guy, always going out of his way to make those around him laugh. He would play pranks and was constantly joking, which quickly caught Janelle's interest. Though Janelle was too shy to say anything to her friend's brother, after being introduced to him, she began to pine for the 36-year-old. He would regularly stop by Tracy's home and hang out with his sister.
And this also, well, we have an ad, so we'll pick it up as soon as we come back. All right, Meow, and we're back. So, HQ, how has Age of Empires been going? Are you truly in an Age of Empires? All right, Sabrina, let's go. So this is the double battle. We want to get rid of Hatterene right away. No trick room being set up. She does have 2 other trick room setters, so that is going to be a pain. If we're able to deal with Ursaluna, this fight becomes way easier. If Ursaluna more or less gets set up, we're just fucking dead. So let's do it. I guess I'll put music on while I'm actually doing the boss battle. Hold on a second. Obviously copyright free music, because I don't feel like having my channel taken down. There we go. Yes, the feudal age. I do be liking the feudal age. That being said, when I think of the feudal age, I only think of feudal era Japan. I know that the feudal age is more than Japan, but that's what comes to mind. So, what empire, faction, civilization are you playing as? Yeah, the enemy loves to sprawl out. I'm not great at any sort of RTS or grand strategy, because I like to turtle and I like to take my own time doing stuff, and then next thing you know, everyone else is taking over. Oh, Bulgarians. They have great burgers. Okay, so let's see. All right, that's fine. We defogged first turn. We want to go Ironhead on Hatterene, and I believe this will one-hit the Hatterene. Okay, so 1 trick room setter down. She still has a P2 with Eviolite and a Mega Gardevoir with trick room. Okay, expanding Dong. We got rid of the terrain, so we're fine. Gardevoir comes in. That's not surprising. Honestly, I'm gonna make it rain. And now that the terrain's gone, we can Shadow Sneak. That's fine. Mega Gardevoir, not a big deal. Okay, I did not expect it to do that much. I'm stoked. Make it rain is gonna do... I mean, it's not bad. Okay, Shadow Ball. Ghost is weak to Ghost. I mean, that's fair. Aegis Slash was mainly here for Gardevoir. Okay, so we're gonna bring in... This is a toughie, because I'm almost positive Brute Bonnet or Ursaluna are coming in. Okay, Brute Bonnet. I did not pick well for this. So... I have to hard pivot into Scizor. I also need to swap out because I'm gonna lose to Brute Bonnet. So this is a double swap. We go into Scizor and we go into Carnivine. Okay. Not ideal. We do have a berry though, for what it's worth, you know. Okay, so we're gonna U-turn. We're going to knock off. This is 4 times effective, so we're fine. Okay, we're gonna bring in Kronk because we're expecting Ursaluna. Mystical Fire. We did pick right, but -1 special. I did not want to see that because I need that special for Ursaluna. So P2 and Ursaluna. Ursaluna always protects on the first turn because it wants to get Flame Orb Guts going. So we're gonna go for Scald on P2. We're gonna try to knock off the Eviolite on P2. That's fine. P2's Eviolite's gone. I did not want to see this, which is why we have a priority move on Samurott. We're going to Aqua Jet, and we're going to Body Press, because I think Carnivine is going to be slower than Ursaluna. Yeah, it wasn't enough. You hate to see it, but this might be enough. It was not enough. Okay, so we might have to restart. We do have Jucario with a priority move, so that will help us get past Trick Room. So Jucario and Scizor. We are going to Mach Punch. We are going to Bullet Punch just in case Mach Punch doesn't do enough. Okay, good. So now it's just P2. We're going to Close Combat. Its Eviolite's gone. And we're going to Brick Break. So it didn't go smooth, but we did it first try. As soon as Trick Room and Ursaluna came up, I easily could have wiped there. So Sabrina's down. Love to see it. Now we gotta go fight Chuck because I really want my Focus Sash and I want Drain Punch. And the reason why we wanted to fight Sabrina first is now I have access to Trick Room and a lot of Chuck's mon are fast. So we may do a Trick Room strat here. That being said, there's only 2 Steel Pokemon that can do Trick Room. One is Stack Attacka, which I don't have access to yet, and the other is Bronzong. So we're gonna continue the Janelle Potter video from Dreading while we get ready for Chuck.
While Janelle was present, and she would just watch him. Most reports would claim that Janelle hardly ever spoke to Billy, as she was too shy, but she would watch him like a hawk whenever she could. Her infatuation with Billy was noted by multiple people, as Janelle did little to hide her feelings. Although she would say otherwise, Janelle had very little...
And yeah, this makes sense. Janelle's been sheltered. She's in her 30s. She's never had a boyfriend. So the first time she meets someone, it's like the biggest thing forever. And this would normally happen to someone, you know, who's allowed to have a normal life. And they would have their first crush when, you know, they're a child, because that's usually how it works.
First-person experience when it came to romance, so whenever she was close to him, her feelings were extremely obvious.
Exactly.
Janelle had never felt so strongly about a person, and believed that her feelings were a sign that they were meant to be together. Billy, however, was not interested in...
Yeah, Billy was allowed to have a life. Granted, that life he's been allowed to have has gotten him in trouble. He's an addict, etc. But he's more or less doing his thing being an adult. And Janelle's like, oh, I'm finally out of my prison. Oh my gosh, the world is so wonderful. And it must be true love.
Janelle, and was dedicated to his girlfriend, Billie Jean, and their newborn son. Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
He was in love with his young girlfriend, and had made significant life changes in order to be with her, including becoming sober. He told those closest to him that he had made a lot of bad decisions in his life, but wanted to be someone who was worthy of Billie Jean, and that getting off drugs was just one of the ways he planned on doing that. Others in their life would come.
And yeah, good on him for turning his life around. He was an addict. He got sober. He has a child with Billie Jean. They're a family unit. He's trying to do right by his significant other and their child. And no good deed goes unpunished.
Comment on Billy and Billie Jean's relationship, stating that they were near a perfect match. And when Billie Jean would give birth to their first son, Tyler, the relationship only improved. Friends of the couple would say both flourished in their new paternal roles and were excited to be parents. Despite Janelle's feelings towards Billy, Neither he nor Billie Jean were untoward to the young woman, taking no issue with her presence when they would see each other. Though they were keenly aware of Janelle's feelings, they still treated her with kindness. But Janelle felt differently. She would often state that she felt Billie Jean would go out of her way to be unkind towards her, and would regularly say that the new mother was just jealous of her. Janelle would argue that Billie Jean was insecure in her relationship with Billy, as there was no way he would really love
Projection? What?
of her, and that she would take out her insecurities on Janelle. Janelle elaborated on these claims, stating that Billie Jean targeted her because of her looks. When asked for specific examples of when Billie Jean had been cruel, the young woman would be unable to find any real-world examples, but simply stated that it was obvious that he was not happy with his current relationship, and that Billie Jean blamed her for that. After noting the tension in the group, Billy and Tracy decided to set Janelle up with their cousin Jamie Curd.
All right, so you want someone, you can't have them. Oh, hey, I'm your friend. I have a friend or a cousin. Yeah, I mean, that can be a thing. But sadly, Janelle has fixated on the man, and she's not going to stop until she has him. And if she can't have him, no one can. It's a tale as old as time, and you hate to see it.
Amy, like Janelle, was interested in computers and often struggled with in-person interaction. Both were described as introverts who had a difficult time coming out of their shell. However, their shared eccentricities created a sort of safety net in the relationship. Because both parties were uncomfortable engaging with large groups of people, neither felt pressure to do more than they were willing. Their relationship was somewhat of a struggle, given how overly involved her parents were in her life. She could still not post freely on Facebook, as her only way to access her account was on the family.
Yeah, and that makes complete sense. When one's parents are very controlling, domineering, helicoptering, it's very hard to have interactions with people without them knowing. So for example, when I was younger, Dad would always be listening on the other end of the phone anytime there was a phone call, and I learned that it is not safe to talk to anyone on the phone because Dad will hear all of it. So I wasn't allowed to have a cell phone. I couldn't talk to anyone on the phone. Dad would always get the mail, so letters weren't even safe. It was very isolating, and it helped form part of my trauma.
Computer, and her parents still monitored her accounts, but they made it work. Jamie even went so far as to buy his girlfriend her own phone. That way they could talk privately whenever they wanted. While they were around their friends, they would hold hands and kiss openly, but Janelle's parents were none the wiser. She would attempt to warm her parents up to the idea of her dating by bringing Jamie to the family home, stating that he was a friend who could help them with their computer. At first, Barbara and Marvin were untrusting of the new man in Janelle's life, but as he came around more often, they began to relax a bit. But their inability to go fully public was not the couple's only issue. Jamie would state that his new girlfriend would consistently bring up Billie Jean in her relationship with Billy. She would tell her boyfriend that she didn't believe the two were in love.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I know I don't deserve it, but if I've learned anything in life, we rarely get what we deserve, and rich people in power get away with everything. So yeah, imagine you're dating someone, and your significant other keeps bringing up a person that they want to be with, but they can't. So they settle for you instead. I hate that. Especially knowing that Janelle ends up convincing the boyfriend to murder Billie Jean and the man she can't have.
And that Billie Jean was just using her best friend's brother. Jamie disagreed, having interacted with the pair privately and spoken to Billy about his relationship, and felt that Billie Jean only brought the best out of him. He would counter Janelle's statements, telling her that he felt like the pair would go the distance, but noted that response disgusted her. For the first time in Janelle's life, she had friends, a boyfriend who adored her, and was beginning to feel like a real adult. Her posts online were no longer generic quotes about living life and being happy, but about things she was actually doing in the real world. She still lived with her parents, of course, but she felt as if she were turning the page, finally gaining some sort of independence. Though things were looking up in Janelle's life, her world was shaken when she became the focus of an online harassment campaign. The place she had used as an escape.
Ad is about the proc. I will see you all shortly. Okay, so we're leaving with Scrum to deal with that. We have Aegis policy to deal with that. We have Token Amara to deal with that. Huh, none of them have ground. That's actually mildly interesting. All right, Meow, and we're back. So that was more or less a preamble to how the case comes to be. The whole online targeted harassment hate campaign, this is Act 2. So buckle up, buckaroo.
From mundanity was transformed almost overnight, with anonymous accounts telling her that she was ugly, stupid, and that they were going to find her and kill her. These comments were graphic in nature, with some detailing how they were going to pay to have her sexually abused. Janelle was quickly overwhelmed by these anonymous comments and brought them to her parents' attention. Barbara jumped into action, going onto her own Facebook account and responding to the comments, informing them that she was Janelle's mother and that they needed to stop. She also threatened to call the police on whoever was attacking her daughter, stating that they would no doubt find who was responsible and hold them accountable, but that did little to help. Barbara asked Janelle if she knew who could be behind the comments, as they were too specific and graphic to be a stranger. There was no way someone would randomly target Janelle like this, Barbara contended, as her daughter had no real enemies. After some prodding, Janelle eventually told her mother that there would be only one person who hated her enough to attack her this way.
So, yep, that's the father on the right. Big stolen valor. It comes out later, the stolen valor. But yeah, what a man. Yo, I'm gardening. Bandolier of ammo. Firearm on the right. Some sort of stick on the left. What a lad. Hey, did you know that I totally served in the military and I'm not making it all up? Yeah, you gotta love people who co-op things to make it part of their identity and leverage it for advantage against others.
And that was Billie Jean. She informed her.
Oh, what's that? I'm being harassed and targeted? Oh no, and it just happens to be the person I want to be with, significant other, and I can't be with? Oh no, motive.
Her mother that Billie Jean had made it clear that she disliked Janelle, stemming from her own insecurities with her appearance and her relationship with Billie. She specified that Billie Jean had never done anything outright to make her animosity towards Janelle known, but the young mother always looked upset when she was around. Janelle also told her mother that when she would hang out with Tracy...
Keep in mind, the only person saying any of this is Janelle, and instead of Janelle's parents trying to corroborate any of this, they're like, yeah, my daughter wouldn't lie. Of course what she says is truth.
And Billie would join them, he had made his romantic feelings towards her known. She went further to claim that he had told their mutual friends that he had planned on breaking up with the mother of their newborn child to be with Janelle, despite the fact that she was not interested. None of these claims were ever backed up by any third parties, because they were obviously false. Janelle had never piqued Billie's interest, and Billie Jean had never been intimidated by the sheltered 30-year-old, but that didn't matter. The Potters had never met or interacted with this Billie Jean person, and they didn't believe their daughter was capable of lying, much less lying about something so complex. So from the moment Janelle stated Billie Jean was responsible for the attacks, they believed her. Janelle also brought up the comments to her friends, who initially railed around her. When they inquired as to who Janelle thought could be behind the attacks, she once again put the blame onto Billie Jean. Those who knew the young mother immediately called bullshit, as Janelle's story didn't make any sense.
Good.
Billy was devoted to Billie Jean. He loved being a father, and they were happy in their relationship. There was no way Billie Jean felt threatened by Janelle's presence, especially when Billy had never mentioned being attracted to her in the first place. When pressed about her claims that Billy was going to leave Billie Jean for her, she was unable to say who told her as much, and those around her immediately wrote off her claims as being fictitious. Though Janelle insisted that Billy was romantically interested in her and wanted to break up with his girlfriend, their friends were quick to deduce that she was lying. It seemed that the only people who believed Janelle
were Janelle and Janelle's parents. So yeah, everyone else is seeing through the ruse. Sadly, the parents do not.
Her parents and her boyfriend, Jamie. Like Barbara and Marvin, Jamie began to view Janelle as someone who needed to be protected. In his eyes, she was so entirely sheltered that he needed...
And yeah, that makes sense. It's reasonable that a significant other or a family member or a loved one would want to take care of someone they care about. Sadly, something paved intentions.
Needed to step up to the plate and protect her, and he took that responsibility very seriously. But believing Janelle came at the cost of his relationship to his family, save for Tracy. Tracy felt as if she were the only one in the situation who had kept a cool head. She believed that Janelle was being harassed, as when they talked about it in person, she seemed reliably paranoid as to who was stalking her. She described the young woman as being constantly on edge, and at the time felt as though no one person could act that well. But she also knew that Billie Jean was not behind the bullying. She felt as if Janelle was simply paranoid as to who was behind the attacks, and in her paranoia had wrongfully accused Billie Jean. In response, Billie Jean and Billy had become...
And yeah, I get that. You want to see the best in people. You're seeing this happen with Sydney Powell, the young woman who stabbed her mother in the neck 30 times because her mom was about to find out from the college that Sydney actually dropped out of college because she was flunking, and then tried to stage it as a break-in, and it was like some black guy who did it, you know? And she was found guilty of murder. And the reason why I bring up Sydney Powell and wanting to see the good in others, especially family members, is because to this day, all of Sydney Powell's family members are like, yeah, she had a psychotic break. It was an oopsie doopsie. She's not a murderer, and she's getting a new trial. And I can't help but think that the fact that the family members of Sydney and the family members of the mother, aka the same people, are all overwhelmingly on the side of Sydney being released from prison and she didn't get a fair sentence. In my opinion, cold-blooded murder, no ifs, ands, or buts, but victims, they do have a say. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when Sydney Powell gets a new trial.
antagonistic toward the young woman, given that they had been wrongfully accused. Both sides, she felt, were angry for no reason, and simply needed to talk things out. Tracy tried to get the two sides together to talk through their issues, and see that neither party was as bad as the other side, but the rift between the two camps would only grow wider. As time went on, Janelle continued to be attacked anonymously online, with messages being posted on her Facebook wall at all times of the day, and with each comment, she became more sure that it was Billie Jean behind the cyberstalking. But then the harassment began to escalate. Janelle claimed to be on the receiving end of countless prank.
I need to focus on this fight, so we're gonna go back to music. Alright, let's see. We protect first turn for no fake out. We're then gonna go into dual wing beat. And I have weak armor, because weak armor allows me to, when I'm hit, I lose defense but I gain speed. So if I get hit with all 3 hits of triple axle and I somehow manage to live, weakness policy procs, which makes me do more damage, and I get +6 to my speed. Okay, we avoided, not terrible, but I would have preferred to have been hit by that, because triple kick would have not been triple axle. So we're gonna go dual wing beat again. Okay, we don't get the weakness policy proc. That's likely because the AI realizes that if it went triple axle, it would trigger my weakness policy. So I don't love that, but Hit'em on top is gone, and I think I just got +6 speed. Lucario, sadly Lucario is vacuum wave, so I don't get to stay in. I'm gonna wanna go, I'm gonna go Tinkaton. I'm gonna resist. We're going to fake out, flinch, pops the balloon. We're eating a nasty plot. We gotta go play rough. Double nasty plot, not what I wanted to see. For some reason, I thought play rough would be enough. I was wrong. So yeah, we're just, nice, we held on. Love to see it. Okay, so now it's Sneasler. This is probably random move because I'm under half. But I think I'm low enough that pretty much anything kills me. So let's go into, I don't need Skarmory anymore. We're gonna let Skarmory go down to get a clean swap. We're gonna go into Tinkaton. We're gonna fake out the break sash. We want another clean swap on Sneasler. It's now -2. So we're gonna go Excadrill. Not ideal. Quaquaval is probably gonna go Aqua Step. It could also go Bulk Up. I'm gonna go Togedemaru. We're gonna hope that Zippy Zap kills. Okay, it does go Aqua Step. That does way more than I thought it would, in all honesty. Zippy Zap, I think this kills. It does, that's huge. So now we have Breloom. Breloom, it's random move, but I wanna have, it's probably gonna go Spore. So we need someone with safety goggles for that. It's gonna be Bronzong. No Spore. We're gonna go Trick Room to make me faster. We need to get rid of the substitute. Sadly, we are gonna get hit by Dynamic Punch. Thankfully, well, Focus Punch, but we do resist, which is important. We are faster. That's why we wanted Trick Room. It's too weak to make sub, that's huge. We get to go again. Gallade. This is tough because I am technically faster. I think I have to, it's gonna go Night Slash realistically. So we're gonna go Side Shield Ram just to get some more damage in. Okay, I'm +3 defense, Sacred Sword. I suppose the sharpness, like that makes sense, right? So we're gonna go cold steel. It goes bulk up. I don't want to see that, but I think I'll be fine. We'll certainly find out if we are. Yes, awesome. Chuck down first try. Love to see it. Someone I used to watch who plays Pokemon who would do monotypes. When they were doing mono steel, they were relying on Aegis Slash with weakness policy. So that's where I picked up the tech. That was good. We love to see that. We get Drain Punch. We need to show him a beefy boy. So we're going to show him a Metagross, and he'll give us our Focus Sash. That's the only reason why we fought Chuck. Well, I mean that and Drain Punch. So technically 2 reasons. Okay. Thank you. It's the only way to get a Sash. We go back all the way to the right so we don't have to fight the other 2 trainers. Now we're gonna prep for the weather routes. So that's gonna be... That's gonna be these. So we want someone, we're probably gonna use either flying, probably flying. Flying Protect, we'll go dual wing beat. We have a ground type for the Heliolisk. It's 3 fights in a row. It's definitely gonna be a doozy, but we also have at least 3 steel type that are either outright immune to ground or they fly. So we'll be relying on that to get through this. We're also gonna save because I don't want to redo the Chuck fight again. I feel like I got relatively lucky with how it played out.
Calls, where the person on the other line would make repeated threats to her safety or simply breathe heavily into the receiver. At night, she would report that this person was also repeatedly driving past the home, more specifically, the side of the home her room was on, in order to scare her. She was sure that this was Billie Jean, wanting to hurt her for damaging her relationship. She was so certain that it was Billie Jean behind the harassment that on at least one occasion, she and her mother verbally accosted the young mother while she was pumping gas. According to the gas station attendant, Hayworth was outside
And that's terrifying. Imagine you are the person, you're getting gas, some crackpot lunatic and her mom starts harassing you, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's big cringe. Ad starts in about 5 seconds, so I'll see you all soon. We'll be prepping for the triple battle at the start of Cycling Road. Okay, so... Alright, Meow, and we're back. So, yeah, the harassment and the abuse that Janelle is enduring is absolutely ramping up, but we're getting a tidbit of Janelle and her mom harassing one of the victims, and I hate that because they know what's going on, but they don't know how it's going to escalate and how it's going to end, and I hate that for them.
Next to her car when another vehicle approached. The occupants of said vehicle then began to verbally accost the young mother in front of her child. Though the witness could not hear what was said, she stated that Billie Jean was noticeably shaken by the encounter.
I would be
the witness
too.
then came out of the gas station and asked if Hayworth wanted her to call the police, at which point Barbara and Janelle fled the scene. Billie Jean thanked the attendant and stated that the mother and daughter duo had called her trash, and had also gone so far as to say she didn't deserve to have her son, who was in the backseat of the car. She also informed her that Janelle had repeatedly stated that she hoped her son died, just to hurt her. At the same time, an account by the name of Matt Potter began posting to the Mountain City page of the Topic's website.
We don't know, well, not yet at least. We don't know who's behind the Matt Potter account, but it's gonna come up. And this is basically, this Matt Potter is gonna go on a campaign of online hate, besmirching the victims, and it's all part of Janelle's elaborate web. I don't want to bury the lead too much, but I'm sure you'll figure out what's really going on.
Wix, for those who are unaware, is a replacement for Craigslist, and is often used for people to anonymously ask about certain things going on in the area, or complain about certain things without judgment. Janelle had previously claimed that Matt Potter was her brother on Facebook, although, as far as we were able to find, she does not have a brother. Regardless, this account began to talk viciously about Billie Jean and two of her closest friends, Lindsay Thomas and Tara Osborne. They repeatedly called them no-good whores, posted unflattering images of them, and accused them of breaking the law. Another account bolstered these claims, going by the name of Kelly. Whoever was behind the Kelly account would go on to state that Matt was right about Billie Jean and her friends, going so far as to claim that one of them had HIV, and that they were guilty of harassing Janelle. The following is an example of what was posted to the forums. Wow, Matt and Kelly. I knew she was bad, but I had no clue she was off on the deep end. She is crazy, that's for sure. Sounds like all of them are. I know Billie Jean, that bitch, has lived with more guys and have sex with 80% of Mountain City, and Lindsay, I would say half of Mountain City, then you trade, and Butler, and you have, and then Johnson City. Who the fuck, what asshole wrote this? Okay, wait, I think I got it.
I also love Dreading's interjection. He does a really good job at, for the most part, he does a really good job at staying neutral, though there are certain cases where he absolutely just lets loose because it's Sarah Boone, or the other person who, you know, did the crime is just so utterly reprehensible, and it adds a good bit of levity to, like, the really grim stuff, you know, child death, matricide, patricide, all that good stuff, you know? So it helps.
And then you have Doe and then Johnson City and then Kingsport. She has been all over. And she does have HIV. This is all around town. And Tara, bracket, she will give it to anyone her poor husband. He's a nice guy, but he never wants to be home with her. I think when his baby is 18, he will leave her dumb ass too. She is a whore too. I agree with you both. And this girl, the defendant, do know, as in passing, but she is a good girl, and she was brought up right, and you can tell everything is you're welcome and hello and thank you, and she just a sweet girl. I will be praying for Janelle, and as far as other ones go, they're no good whore sluts, and that is carrying something and giving it to everyone. Damn, girls, they live in high school still, and they need to grow up. The other two examples of this that were made available in the court documents will be linked in the description box down below. But before we get to these specifically, we need to draw your attention to how each party is referred to in these comments. Starting with Billie Jean and her female friends, they are all disparaged, with a specific focus being placed on their promiscuity. Those girls are painted as being evil sexual deviants who destroy the men they come into contact with. They are inflicted upon others, and so the concept of them having sex, having relationships, and even just
I love how Probopass looks. It's like a combination of Easter Island head and Hasidic Jew. It almost feels like one of the really racist caricatures of Disney stuff in the old days, you know?
Talking to men becomes an act of malice. The men in the situation are being duped in a sense and taken for a ride by these three. They are the poor patsies who really just need a good girl to take care of them. Someone like Janelle. Meanwhile...
Yes. The sheltered woman who's malingering and who has health issues. Yup, she's the good girl. All these other women, fucking whores, you know? All according to Janelle. All according to Matt Potter. All according to these other people that actually don't exist.
Look at how Billy is referred to. He is not talked about with as much vitriol as his fiancée and her friends. And the commenter goes on to state that he is just a nice guy who is slowly finding out his girlfriend is evil. The concept of him leaving Billie Jean is something that is celebrated, but she is the main villain in the story. Then Janelle is referred to as a sweet girl who doesn't deserve this kind of torment. A comment like this can be exceedingly illuminating, as whoever left it clearly hates Billie Jean primarily, and likes Billy so much that they are looking for ways to excuse his choice to be with her. They infantilize him, almost, implying that he was not capable of seeing how maniacal his fiancée is, and trying to use him working as a sign of stress in the relationship. Almost as if the person were trying to convince themselves that if Billie Jean weren't around, they could be with Billy. The comments continued, with Matt Potter writing, Janelle is a sweet person, and people try to get her, but she has a lot of us behind her, if she knows us or not. But her dad is big timid. He will deal with the rest of this shit. They're fucking whores, and that's all this town is, and drugs.
Fucking
I know for sure Billie Jean and Miss Thomas
outrageous.
did drugs together, and I know Miss Thomas does meth sheet gets off Jason. I know way too much, lol. I love that Janelle's not like them, and she stayed sweet. They are dumb assholes, motherfuckers, get what's coming their way, and they don't know who I am. Okay,
I know who you are.
Now we have the account gleefully talking about how no one knows who they are, which is a strange thing to do on an account that was said to have belonged to Janelle's fictional brother. But this comment is also telling. Again, specific attention is paid to Billy.
Two things. The neighbors next door are doing construction, and I can smell sawdust coming through the vents. So that's gonna make me slightly allergic, and I fucking hate it. But yeah. People who are telling lies, they often can't keep track of their lies. So she'd be like, LOL, nobody knows who I am, even though, as Dreading said, this is allegedly Janelle's brother, when in reality it's not. All right, so we're going to take on Cycling Road.
Jean and her friends. They are sex-crazed drug addicts who can't help but attack the virtuous and beautiful Janelle. Meanwhile, Janelle is characterized as being sweet, classy, and not like them at all. Moreover, her dad is described as being big time, implying that his time in the Marines and the CIA make him a force to be reckoned with, although at the time of writing, he had become incredibly ill, needing to use an oxygen tank regularly, and had to walk with a cane. The comments continued with Matt writing, well, I guess Billy don't know that have his number and his finale is being taped. Ha, I know what he said about Janelle. It was wrong. He's a fucking work when these is girl Sarah doing this to Janelle, and we gotta...
So this could be Boom Burst. It could also be Volt Switch. I mean, it could literally be anything but Surf. So knowing that, I'm going to go into Bronzong, and I'm going to try to set up Trick Room. Okay, we're going to go Body Press, Sand Veil. You hate to see it. 2 evades in a row. I hate it. It's okay, though. We can come in with Jucario and Mach Punch. I don't think it's sashed. We are, though. All right, now round 2 fight. This is gonna be Bolt Beak, and it's gonna do double damage because it outspeeds. So I'm going to go into Tingaton. We're gonna Fake Out. It probably wants to go Earthquake or Fire Blast now. So we're gonna go into Kronk. Oh, it went Bolt Beak again? I guess it was the strongest move, you know? So that kind of makes sense. Okay, we're gonna go Fake Out again. Okay, I'm gonna assume it's going Bolt Beak again. Yep, Bolt Beak. We're gonna go Earth Power. Oh, it's not enough. It's okay though, we have Lucario. Mach Punch will finish him off. This is not going well, but we're gonna make it work. So this is normal Doug Trio. This is probably Sucker Punch or Stone Edge. So I'm gonna go Hone Claws. Okay. Nice. This is gonna be, well, it could be Fake Out. It's probably Fake Out. So we're just gonna go Dual Wing Beat again. All right, we got past it. I love to see it. This sawdust smell is gonna drive me crazy. This is actually, like, there are people in the townhousing and the adjacent units. They've done construction before and it's never been an issue, but this is the first time in at least 4 years I've smelled sawdust coming through the vents. So I'm probably gonna have to turn on the old air purifier. In fact, we're gonna save and I'm gonna do that now. There will be some extra background noise. Quick breb. All right, and we're back. So now we need to prep for the next one. That was the hard part of the cycling path. There is one fight in particular coming up that's a pain, but having to fight 3 in a row and no healing, super annoying. All right, so now we got to prep for the rest of the fights. We more or less to prep for each individual fight because the teams are so different.
Our stuff. And Janelle, I'm sure, has stuff too. I'm going to be posting numbers if they don't stop booshing Janelle and that fucking Billie Giannis eating so fat. That baby she looks like a chipmunk that's eating too many nuts. LOL. I hope she loses that baby in time. It don't need a mother like Billie Jean, and Billy he's no father by the way he acts and talks. Sooner thy move out of town, the better. I think something about getting a house. I hope he can't get it. I hope they have to live out in the woods. More bitter for Chipmunk. She can't make friends out there. And fuck deer and bear and whatever else. I hope a bear would eat her, but the way she looks, but it would go ruining the other way. LOL. Ugly a bitch whore? Can't leave no one alone. Druggy whore, ass bitch. Okay, ass bitch, of course. Go fuck a damn tree for all I care. Leave Janelle alone. Okay, everyone still here? Everyone got that? Yeah, that's definitely not Janelle. These comments would become even more violent, with Matt Potter stating he was going to kill her if she didn't stop harassing Janelle, and other seemingly related accounts telling the young mother to go have intercourse with animals. As Janelle had claimed, the Matt Potter account belonged to her otherwise unknown brother. Billy and Billie Jean quickly deduced that the comments must be coming from someone in Janelle's family, if not Janelle herself. They printed out page after page of harassment they had received, documenting every comment in a 3-ring binder that they then presented to Tracy. Tracy had been Janelle's access point to the rest of the town, her first and only real friend outside of her family. But when the pharmacist was shown every comment besmirching her future sister-in-law, she finally broke down. She sent the following message to Janelle via Facebook. Your friend Matt needs to leave Billie Jean and Lindsay off of the Topic's website. You lost my brother as a friend, and I'm not happy with you either. In response, Janelle stated that she didn't know who this Matt person was, and that she had done nothing wrong, and that the comments that were being made on the Topic's website had nothing to do with her. She seemingly forgot that she had previously stated that he was her brother. She tried her best to assure her only friend that she had not been involved with what occurred, but would also bring up her negative feelings towards Billie Jean whenever she could.
The only one with
Other
motive?
Facebook friends
No
and
way.
acquaintances would state the same, claiming that when Janelle would message them via social media, she would always find a way to bring up Billie Jean supposedly harassing her. She would claim that she was deeply scared and that the added stress of cyberstalking was causing her health to deteriorate. If these acquaintances ever pushed back or questioned Janelle's claims, she would attack them, claiming that they were actually the ones behind the stalking, working alongside Billie Jean. One of the people Janelle...
Ah, yes, everyone's against her. And this is really gonna play into the CIA and the guy who's watching over her. It reads like a young adult fiction, but with deadly consequences, you know?
would accuse of this was Tara Osborne, who barely knew Janelle. She had been lumped in on the Topic's forum, but had tried her best to remain on friendly terms with the sheltered woman, not wanting to provoke her. Janelle would message her nearly every day, always bringing up her negative feelings toward Billie Jean. Tara would attempt to avoid Janelle's messages and ghost the young woman, making it so her friends could not see if she was online or she had read their messages. But that didn't stop Janelle. Eventually, Tara would remove her from her friends list, hoping that she would get the message. Instead, Janelle wrote to her to ask if she had done anything wrong. Tara, wanting to pacify the woman she believed was harassing her friend, claimed that she was just cleaning up her friends list to be only close friends and family, and that she harbored no ill will towards her. But the damage was already done. Shortly thereafter, Janelle...
And that's something you'll see in a lot of people in crime videos. Slights, even if imaginary, no matter how little, it's all intentional. Everyone's out to get her. It's just her and the CIA man. And it's wild. Like, I've covered a lot of Sarah Boone on stream and off stream. And basically, if you don't actively support the person, you have blood on your hands because you're contributing to her persecution. Okay, we want to swap out. We want to go into Cold Steel. Fire Fang, not what I wanted to see, but it does proc weakness policy. So now we can go Shadow Sneak, and I'm hoping it one hits the Houndstone, since as you know, Ghost is weak to Ghost. It does one hit, huge. So now Rosa Raid. This is probably going to be another fire move. We don't have anything super effective, so we're actually going to go into Sand Slash. HP Fire. Brings us down to 1. I think Ice Shard kills. I wanted to be able to set up Snowscape, but we didn't get it. It doesn't kill. But we can come in and we can... Hitchcock! Oh, I forgot. I don't have safety goggles anymore. Shit. It's okay. Roserade killed herself in a video game. So, Excelgor, the Focus Blast. I mean, I was low, and it's neutral damage, so I guess it's fine. We're gonna go Lucario, and we're gonna E-Speed because Excelgor is squishy. It's gonna U-turn into itself, and we'll finish it off with a Mach Punch. Alright, that worked. Not ideal, but we made it work. Let's see what the next fight is. This one's going to be a bit more difficult. We'll figure it out when we get there. We have an ad in just under a minute. VOD friends, lurkers, I hope you're enjoying the Palace Cats we looked at earlier. The dreading video on Janelle Potter making up a bunch of stuff to justify murdering people, and Pokemon. I will see you all shortly. I appreciate you all for watching. And yeah, totally not awkward. I apologize. So grass. Tara, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you had a great weekend. We're currently working on cycling route in Mono Steel. We're like halfway through the Sandy Boys. We are going to look at some more Palace Cats. We were looking at Calypso earlier. She crossed the Rainbow Bridge into heaven some time ago, and she is Polly's sister. She's got a silly. She's very floofy and round. Yes, absolutely double round. And truly one of God's finest creatures. Likely taken during the winter due to how large she's looking. We're also covering Dreading's video on Janelle Potter, a sheltered young woman who, for the crime of unfriending her, she had 2 people murdered. I love this one. She's giving you the gypsy stink eye, cursing your entire lineage for whatever slight she feels you did. I also love the cute little nose hiding behind the tree. Yeah, this was taken during the winter. You can see some snow on the fur, plus she's very round. So silly. Truly some of God's finest creatures. And these were taken at Saarbrücken Zoo, somewhere in Europe. Maybe even Germany. Let's find out. Yes, Germany. Awesome. Love to see it. She's very silly. You can tell she's related to Polly. The eyes, the silly, the Pete's. Absolutely magnificent specimen. And these are all from monetization. back to crime coverage.
Began accusing Tara of vandalizing her mailbox and making repeated calls to her family home. Tara denied this and informed Janelle that she had really unfriended her because she was tired of seeing the constant drama that surrounded her online activity, which only set Janelle off even more. Eventually, Tara would go to the police and file an order of protection against Janelle. This order was later dismissed because, according to court records, a lack of statutorily required relationship between the parties. Lindsay Thomas would similarly file a harassment complaint against Janelle, as the 30-year-old had taken to calling her upwards of 20 times a day without disguising her phone number. This case would also be
Yeah, that's pretty excessive. The abuse is ramping up. If you're not familiar with the case, it's a young woman with health issues that may or may not be exaggerated. She lives a sheltered life. She moves to a new town. She makes a friend. That friend introduces her to some other friends. And it starts to sound like Janelle's having an okay time of it. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Janelle starts being harassed. And she's the only one with motive. And then all of a sudden, the man she can't have and the significant other, the man she can't have, are murdered. I wonder who it could be.
Dismissed, although the why was not made as readily available. Janelle herself would state that both cases were dismissed because the judge looked at the details and determined that it was Lindsay and Tara who were antagonizing her, which was not true. Instead, it seemed that on both occasions, the court failed to take either claim seriously and dismissed the cases,
which sadly wouldn't be the first time.
They were wrong.
Cases are never taken serious.
To have lived in constant fear, believing that whoever was targeting their youngest daughter would make good on their threats and attack her. And their fears were fully realized one night when a small rock was allegedly thrown at the Potter family home. Reports vary about if the rock was simply thrown at the home itself or at a window, but either way, the rock was found outside of the home.
So yeah, imagine in a video game, you are gonna throw a rock through someone's window that you don't like. Are you gonna write your name on the rock? Probably not, because you want to get away with it. So Janelle alleges that Billy Payne's name was written on the rock because in Janelle's mind, of course the person who's going to attack her is going to write their name on the object used to attack them with, because Janelle's a fucking idiot. And so are her parents, because they believe her at face value and they choose not to corroborate any of it.
In their yard, with Billy and Billie Jean's name on it. Barbara and Marvin were convinced that this was proof that the couple were targeting their innocent daughter, and Barbara went to the police. She told them everything that Janelle had told her, how the pair was determined to make their life more difficult, and how they had written horrible things on her wall, and how they weren't going to stop harassing until she was dead. When asked if she had any direct evidence, Barbara pointed to the rock bearing the couple's name and insisted that they knew that the pair was behind it, but the police stated there was nothing that they could do. At the most, they had a rock, but they couldn't even reliably say if the rock had been thrown at the home or merely left in the yard. Janelle's
hopefully it wasn't a neighbor's window or something, because I don't want you to get in trouble, Taro. Oh, okay. That's fair then. I never threw any windows through rocks because it wouldn't have bade well for me when I got home.
Relationship with Jamie was still going strong, despite the continued drama surrounding her and his family. In fact, Jamie went so far as to buy Janelle a ring, and the couple began to discuss eloping, even though their parents still didn't know nor approve of her dating. However, Janelle also began talking to another man via Facebook. This man was named Bob Meehan, and he looked—
Not Bob! Let's see. Huh. I love that you have a relatively positive and healthy memory regarding that. Oopsie doopsies. I threw a rock because the tornado. I do like that for you, Taro. What are you up to today? Have you made sure to eat and drink water so you don't waste away?
Lived in Pennsylvania. Though the two had never met in person, Bob believed that they were in a serious, committed relationship with each other. Around this time, Billy and Billie Jean would make the decision to remove Janelle as a friend on Facebook. They wanted to move on from Janelle.
Oh no! It's happening! She's been removed from Facebook friends! Yeah, second meal might be a good idea. Make sure to have some water because it's very important to maintain that delicate balance of 70% water.
And all of her drama, and Billy wound up asking Billie Jean to marry him shortly thereafter. But these two actions would have unintended consequences.
They sure would.
On January 31st, 2012, Brad Osborne would drive to Billy and Billie Jean's home at 6:30 a.m. in order to pick up Billy's father. Osborne and Billy's father would often carpool to work together, but that morning, Mr. Payne had left on his own. Brad arrived at the home and waited in his car for Mr. Payne, but when he didn't appear, Osborne became concerned. He entered the home via the rear sliding glass door, as the Paynes seldom locked their home, and called out to his coworker, but was only met with the sound of an alarm clock ringing.
It also means no stealth rocks, which is huge, because I didn't want rocks for chip damage. It'll put me to sleep, my berry will proc, I will wake up. Rever Room has filter. It also has an air balloon. I want to set rain to get rid of the sand. I don't like that. I want to Dragon Pulse just to get rid of the air balloon. I'm probably gonna stay in because anything that swaps in on Rever Room is gonna die now. So high horsepower, not ideal. Eat your berry. This does. Okay, good. So Rever Room is gonna be down as soon as I Mach Punch. Caesar. I think I'm faster, so I have to go Mach Punch and hope that my base speed is more than enough. Same thing. Okay, not bad. How am I doing this? I think I'm going to do a Hone Claw. We baited the knockoff. Nice, that's huge. Hitchcaw is extremely powerful. Save, because I don't want to redo it. So now this is like the beginning of Act 3. The crime has been committed, and someone's going to be traumatized by finding it.
After a few moments, he left the residence to go to work, noting that it seemed like no one was home. 4 hours later, at around 10 a.m., another friend of the Paynes would arrive at the home. This friend was Roy Stevens, a former neighbor who often picked up mail for the Payne family. Roy would enter the home through the sliding back door and called out for Billy and Billie Jean, having noted both cars in the driveway. When he got no response, he ventured further into the home and found a horrific sight. In one of the first bedrooms, he found Billy's dead body. Billy had been lying on his back on the bed and was covered in his own blood. At first, Roy had no idea what had happened to his former neighbor, or if he was still alive, and attempted to revive him by grabbing him by the shoulders and shaking him. When that didn't work, he ran out of the home and told his wife to call 911. Roy's wife Linda was CPR trained and went inside the home to try and provide aid. When she found Billy, she noted that his body was cold and stiff, and that he'd been horrifically beaten prior to his death. It was only when she attempted to find a pulse that she realized that his throat had been slashed. Upon realizing that he was a lost cause, she went to the living room to call 911. While on the line with emergency services, Linda would go on to hear what she described as the most...
We use Exadrill because ground is immune to electric, and I have Mold Breaker, which means I'll be able to hit regardless of ability. It has Sand Veil for evasion. Mold Breaker is going to bypass the Sand Veil. That being said, it does have a ground move and it does have Sash, so I have to more or less Earthquake twice for the kill. I think it can also set Stealth Rocks. It may actually prioritize setting rocks. It does. So, according to the AI, it did the thing. We're going to go Rock Slide in case it wanted to swap into a Flyer. Greninja We are gonna probably die in one hit here because it's faster and it's got a water move. And I'm holding a Shuckaberry, which means whatever swaps in is gonna take rock damage. Maybe it misses? It does not miss. And now we just made it Ash Greninja. Actually, no, because it's Protean. Never mind. Okay, so we're gonna go Lucario. And we're gonna go Close Combat. We're going to go Close Combat again. Very nice. We're going to go Mach Punch. Okay, Mach Punch again. We just have to keep doing priority moves because they don't have a priority move. Beedrill's a glass cannon, so yeah. Okay, not bad. Jucario and Excadrill have done a good bit of the work. We're gonna go into Fake Out. And now it's Aron. We're gonna go Giga Hammer. And Hideo Kojimbo is down. We're gonna go back to town because now we need to prep for the rain route.
Horrifying noise. Somewhere in the home, Billy's child was stirring, and she had no idea where he was, if he had been near his father when he was killed, and if he was okay. She followed the source of the sound, and it was on the phone with emergency services when she discovered Billie Jean's dead body, holding her 7-month-old son in her arms. Luckily, the son was unharmed, but the scene was obvious.
And thankfully, the son was probably old enough that they're not going to remember any of this, and the people responsible are in prison for probably the rest of their life.
Obviously horrific. Whoever had killed Billy and Billie Jean had done so while she was holding onto their child, and they had left the child in the dead mother's arms for hours. Billy and Billie Jean had both been shot in the head, but it would seem that Billy had been able to put up somewhat of a fight. However, he had been nearly nude when the attack took place, and whatever had attacked him was able to get the upper hand, beating him until finally shooting him in the head, then slitting his throat. Billie Jean, it seems, was caught by surprise, and was shot one time, killing her at once. Mountain City was a small town, where everyone knew everyone else, and when the police began their investigation, multiple people would bring up the couple's issues with Janelle. The day after the bodies had been found, Chief Deputy Joe Woodard would talk to the Potter family about the murders. The Potters were united, all stating that while they didn't like Billy and Billie Jean, and they wouldn't mourn their deaths anytime soon, they had not been involved in the killing. Moreover, they went over the laundry list of claims they had against the pair, with Woodard noting how keen they were to disparage the deceased. Sure.
Oh yeah, we have nothing to do with it. But fuck that guy. I have a list of all the reasons why he's a piece of shit and he deserved to die. But I didn't do it. I'm the victim. Like, you'll love to see it. These people are fucking idiots, and I hate that they succeeded in murdering, but now no one else can die because these monsters are behind bars for the rest of their life. We also have an ad break in about 10 seconds. Grab a snack, grab some water, do some stretching. I'll be prepping for the next fight. See you all soon. meow, and we're back. Now this is the rain route. There's like 5 battles, then we're in Fuchsia. We kick the teeth out of Brendan, we go to the Safari Zone, then we start rematches because in order to fight Koga, you have to rematch Brock, Misty, and Surge. You can technically rematch Erica, but you don't need to. If you choose to fight Erica, you get an Ogre Pawn after beating her, but there's no Steel Ogre Pawn, so I'm not gonna.
Shortly after talking to the Potters, the police were able to determine that Janelle had been hiding her relationship with Jamie from her parents, which led them to believe that there was likely more that the young woman was hiding from them. The police continued to look at other potential suspects after the murder, but it seemed every other lead would trace back to the Potters. Later that week, the police would bring Jamie in for questioning, feeling as if he could provide the best insight into the case. He was related to the victims, but was seemingly on their lead suspect's side. Whatever happened, he surely knew more than he was saying. As the police spoke to Jamie, he became more and more nervous. It was obvious that he was hiding something, but was not breaking. The police then asked Jamie if he would be willing to take a lie detector test.
Not daily. Friendly reminder, polygraph is inadmissible in court. It's notoriously unreliable in its job of being a lie detector. But if the person you're interrogating is an idiot and they don't know that, it can be used to their advantage as a interrogation prop. Okay, so this is probably flip turn or hydro pump. So we're gonna go into... We're gonna go into Gudra. We're gonna go Giga Drain. Big sip. This is Whiscash. It probably wants to go D-Dance at least once. So we're gonna go Giga Drain again. It does have a Rindo Berry, so I'm gonna need several Giga Drains to get through this. Okay, I mean, that's fine. Salamence. This is probably Dragon Pulse or Earthquake. I want it to be Dragon Pulse, because then I can swap into Tinkaton and be immune. Okay, Earthquake, hate to see it. We're gonna Fake Out. We're gonna play rough. We live on 3, that's massive. Sadly, it lives. So it's gonna go random move. I'm gonna go into Lucario. And we can Mach Punch for kill. And Billiam is down. Next is Whoa Black Betty Cramorant. We're going to be using Togedemaru because 4 times weak to electric. Though I don't have a priority move, so I'm going to be taking some damage from Gulp Missile. Okay.
Test that day, to which he agreed. As we have covered in countless videos before, a lie detector test does not actually detect lies, but signs of stress in the body. They are not indicative of whether or not a person is telling the truth, and as such, are not admissible in court, but the police still use them in interrogations as a tool to garner confessions. And in this instance, when Jamie stated that he did not know the identity of Billy and Billie Jean's killer, the device showed deception. The police used this potential deception as a basis for the remainder of their questioning, repeatedly telling Jamie that if he knew what happened, it would be in his best interest to tell them, and repeatedly that they could help him, but only if he told them the truth. 6 hours into the interrogation...
Ah, yes. We can help you. Just, confess.
Having failed a polygraph and believing that the police would understand, Jamie then asked them a strange question. He inquired as to whether or not the CIA was present. The police were immediately confused.
No.
Sure, the double homicide had been
Now this is where it gets interesting.
And horrific, but why would Central Intelligence, whose main goal is collecting foreign intelligence, be interested in a small-town murder? When the police questioned him further, he elaborated and told one of the most obviously fake stories we have ever stumbled across. Jamie informed the investigators that over the past couple of months, while Janelle and her family had been dealing with the cyberstalking, they had been reached out to by a man who had claimed to be part of the CIA, named Chris. According to the Potters, Chris was just a random man who happened to stumble across the targeted harassment campaign being levied at Janelle and felt motivated to help the young woman. He specifically cited that she was a good girl and didn't deserve the hate she was getting from others, just like the accounts on Topics had said. But that was how the Potters would claim they came into contact with Chris. Jamie would tell the police that he first heard about Chris from Janelle.
Also notice, as you listen to this, Jamie has never come in contact with Chris. Janelle's family members have not come in contact with Chris. So who is Chris? Someone that Janelle asserts is real, and no one bothers to do any independent thinking of, hey, is this Chris person actually real?
She claimed that he was a family friend and told her boyfriend that Chris was like a brother to her. She went further to state that they were exactly the same age, and he had been her next-door neighbor growing up, even driving her to and from school. She told a similar story to Bob Meehan, the man she was also in a secret, long-distance relationship with. After Janelle told Jamie about Chris, she informed him that the Central Intelligence agent was helping her combat the online attacks. He informed the man that he was a government agent with only the topmost clearance, and as such, the majority of his work was
Yes, CIA, famously known for protecting women from being harassed in America.
classified. Moreover, he couldn't simply talk to Jamie through normal means, but would only communicate to him through Janelle's phone and email, which he could somehow access. He would also claim to have a severe phobia of phones, making it impossible for them to talk to each other. Chris would, quote, talk to the Potters and Jamie nearly every day, sending them ranting emails about how evil and sick Billie Jean and her friends were, telling them that he was working on their case, and had found evidence that the other women were obsessed with Janelle and trying to get her killed. Most notably, he talked to Barbara the most, building such a strong relationship with her that she began to refer to Chris as being like a son to her. Chris began to fan the flames of the feud, convincing Marvin and Barbara that Janelle was in danger, and that if they didn't do something, the young woman would be killed. When Barbara went to the police, armed with the rock that had been allegedly thrown at their home, and was turned away, she began to believe that the only way her daughter would be kept safe would be if they took matters into their own hands, which Chris gleefully encouraged. He told the Potters that if they were to do anything, like, say, kill Billie Jean and her husband, that he could pull some strings in the CIA and exonerate them. I've seen this movie. This is the plot to Mission Impossible 7. But I digress. Jamie believed that Chris was real, based on how the Potters talked about him. Barbara would repeatedly state that he was like a son to her. Marvin would claim that he was a former Central Intelligence agent. He knew Chris was the real deal, and Janelle stated she knew him personally. It didn't even occur to Jamie that they could be lying. All of them. Man, she's that phony baloney. This is ridiculous.
It is
Chris
ridiculous.
had encouraged Barbara and Marvin Potter to kill Billie Jean and her friends, repeatedly saying the woman wouldn't stop until Janelle was dead. The night prior...
We double protect for no fake out. I did not think this one through. We want to make sure the Pikachu dies, because it's just going to constantly come in and do fake out shenanigans. And we'll get health back for the Goodra. I totally forgot to give Goodra a sash or something. So this is not going to go well. Yeah, this was definitely an oopsie doopsies on my part. But on the upside, at least the Pikachu's down. So now we're going to go into Togedemaru. We are going to Zippy Zap the Melodic. And we are also going to Dragon Pulse the Goodra. We're going to come in with Lucario. We're going to Zippy Zap the Melodic. We're going to Close Combat the Goodra. Lapras, and this is Water Dragon. And it gets Liquid Voice, so Boom Burst is going to do dummy damage. I'm going to go Zippy Zap again. I'm going to go Close Combat again. I will outspeed. Zippy Zap again. Zippy Zap is what if Extreme Speed did lightning damage and it always crit? What is game balance, you know? Nice. We have one more fight to go. This one is against Dragon Tamer Romero. He leads with a Dragapult. Big Scary. We're going to be using Aegis Slash for this.
Prior to the murders, Chris would write to the family and tell them that he had uncovered that one of their tormentors had put a bounty on Janelle's head for $3,000, and that the only way it would stop would be to kill Billy and Billie Jean as soon as possible.
Are you starting to put this together? It's not believable. Janelle's the only one who knows Chris. Would it surprise you to find out that Janelle is Chris?
How the fuck did anybody fall for this? Are you serious? That night, Jamie came over to the Potter house to help them with a computer issue and was taken aside by Marvin. The supposed former Central Intelligence agent would ask Jamie if he would be willing to do him a favor. Without specifying a date or time, he asked his daughter's secret boyfriend if he would be willing to drive him to Billy's home, drop him off, go down the road to keep a lookout, then pick him back up. Though not explicit with what he wanted to do, it was clear that Marvin was asking if Jamie would be willing to help, and at the very least, attack his cousin with his girlfriend's father. And Jamie, for his part, agreed. The following morning, Jamie got a call from Marvin, cashing in the favor. Moments later...
Thankfully, Mega Pinsir is flying, so we can be like, bingo, bango, you're fucking dead. Or not, apparently. You hate to see it, truly, but we can come in with a fake out, and it kills. I think Giga Hammer will be fine. Oh, that's right. We gotta go play rough. This is not looking ideal. But we're fine. We got there. We got the fuchsia. Love to see it. Now we can kick Brendan in the teeth and go to the egg tutor.
Janelle texted her boyfriend, informing him that her father was on his way over. The two men then drove to a parking lot near Billy's home. They monitored the home until Billy's father left, at which point they walked to a shed behind.
Monitoring the home, trying to be sneaky, bringing a firearm, all these speak to intent and prior planning, which is gonna help seal the conviction for murder. At the very least, second. I don't know if it's second or first. I want to say it's first, but if the prosecutor doesn't feel confident in that conviction, they'll just play it safe and go second.
In Payne's residence, Jamie, it would seem, did not comprehend what they were there to do, as he repeatedly told Marvin that if Billy were to see them, they would get in trouble. But Marvin continued forward. When they arrived at the residence, he gave Jamie a gun and told him that he just needed to stand outside and keep watch. He entered the home and killed both Billy and Billie Jean, but left their son untouched, as in his mind, he was not at fault for what happened with Janelle. After Jamie told the police everything he knew about Chris and the murders, they quickly deduced that whoever he was talking to was in no way affiliated with the CIA. Instead, they determined that Chris was likely just Janelle. No kidding.
No.
Given that she hadn't even changed her fucking phone number or email address when contacting them. Jamie's story was outlandish, and given that he had spent the prior 6 hours of the interview lying directly to their faces, the police felt like they needed more substantial evidence before they brought the Potters in for questioning. Jamie agreed to call the Potters, and within a few short hours, the police knew, without a shadow of a doubt, what had happened the morning of January 31st. When Jamie called the Potters, Barbara answered the phone and spoke with him for a few moments. She repeatedly made references to Chris and said that he had informed her that Jamie had been arrested for the murders. She seemed on edge, as if she was worried about the man she had used as free tech support turning on family, but he placated her, stating that he had only been questioned by police and had passed a polygraph test. Jamie told Barbara that he was worried after speaking to the police, and that he wanted to make sure that Marvin had taken care of all the evidence against him. Barbara then put her husband on the phone, and when asked if he got rid of everything from Bill's, he agreed, proving that he had, at the very least, participated in the murder. The following day, the police obtained a search warrant and arrested Marvin. However, as the search was underway in the home, Barbara attempted to destroy evidence, repeatedly grabbing items that the police were taking and tearing them apart. She did this with a stack of papers, as well as multiple photographs that the family had around the home. These papers were later found to be emails between the family members and screenshots of the victim's social media, with disparaging things written on.
So it's bad enough that they're recording their evidence, but they're also printing it out. That's such a boomer thing. Like, bruh. I'm glad these criminals are incompetent. We will be right back. Did I actually never touch the roly-poly? I mean, that is possible, right? All right, Meow, we're back. We're gonna wrap up this video very shortly.
Them. During the search of the Potter residence, investigators found a green spiral notebook on a desk next to the computer monitor, which contained passwords to various internet accounts, including passwords for both the defendant's and Barbara's AOL email account.
If one were to ever commit crime, and I'm not saying it would be a good idea to do so, don't write it down. I'm grateful that they saw fit to write it down.
These accounts were then connected to the topics page, and multiple accounts had been used to harass Billie Jean. Police attempted to garner a confession from Marvin, but he repeatedly denied having anything to do with Billie and Billie Jean's murder. They then showed the veteran the plethora of evidence they had against him, though he continued to deny any part in the crime, and asked simply to be allowed to speak to his wife. Following this interview, he called Barbara and confessed to having murdered the couple. It seemed that Marvin had forgotten that he was on a recorded line as he repeated that he killed the couple to protect her and Janelle. Barbara, however, denied that he was capable of murder, and, with the understanding that the call would make him look guilty, attempted to give him an alibi for the murders. When Marvin would state that he was responsible for the killings, she would interject, saying she knew he was lying because he had been at home the morning of the killings, and she had seen him. Later on, she would state that the police had questioned Marvin under questionable circumstances, as he hadn't been given his medication, and they didn't allow him to bring his oxygen. She argued that his confession should not be played in court, as he hadn't been in his right mind when he gave it, and that the police were guilty of forcing a confession in this instance. But the evidence stated otherwise. Despite Barbara's attempts at destroying evidence, the police were able to piece together thousands of emails between Chris and the family, and were able to determine that all of the communication that came came from the CIA operative actually came from the family computer.
What?
And as Janelle had a distinct writing style that involved improper capitalization, transposing of letters, and the remaining E from the root word and adding the suffix ing, they were able to match all the emails to her. Moreover, all the comments that had been made harassing Billie Jean while praising Janelle had the same writing style, proving that she had been the one behind the harassment campaign. The police were able to find months and months worth of communication between Chris and the family, goading them into hurting Janelle's enemies. He repeatedly told Barbara that her daughter was going to be killed, that there was a real tangible danger to their lives, and that the police would not help them. For months, Janelle tried to convince those closest to her that she was being attacked, that people were going to kill her, and that she needed to be saved by them. But when the evidence was shown in court, Janelle claimed that she was innocent. Her lawyer argued that Janelle had the mind of a middle schooler and was functionally unable to devise such an evil scheme. Meanwhile, Barbara Potter would maintain that both she and her husband were unable to carry out the crime due to their age and own illnesses. Neither Barbara nor Janelle would admit to so much as authorizing the emails that were found in their home, with Barbara stating she doesn't have enough hate in her heart to do such a thing. Marvin, Barbara, and Janelle Potter would all be given 2 life sentences, a fitting sentence for the 2 lives they helped take. Jamie agreed to a plea deal of 2 concurrent sentences of 25 years in prison. However, in 2021, Barbara was...
Concurrent being they run at the same time. So he'll be eligible for parole at the same time for both of the crimes. Whereas if it were consecutive, you would have to serve X amount of the one and then X amount of the other. So we love that for them. All the people involved, aside from Janelle, are relatively old and in poor health. So they probably won't spend a super long time in prison. If you go into prison with health issues, they tend to only get worse.
Was able to appeal her sentence, with her lawyers arguing that her original trial attorney had a conflict of interest while defending her because he represented her husband. However, instead of a retrial, Barbara agreed to a plea deal and admitted she took part in the orchestration of the murder. She was then sentenced to 25 years in prison. This case was extremely interesting to go over, as while it has been covered plenty of times by places like 2020 and Nightline, the court documents are filled with smaller details that are often left out, like Marvin Potter had served in Vietnam, and would often talk about how he had worked for the CIA afterwards. He maintained a lot of his work was classified, and repeatedly talked about how he knew plenty of the country's secrets. But that was obviously patently false. There is no evidence that he was ever involved with the intelligence agency.
And that's where the Stolen Valor comes into play.
Find a post on the Stolen Valor website showcasing how he lied about his Marine history and stole his Navy Cross Medal, which is the 2nd highest military award for valor. A lot of the lies Janelle told, which would seem obvious to most people with a shred of sense, were handed down from her father, who spent who knows how long telling people false stories of his own heroism. The more I was able to find, the more unavoidable something like this seemed. The Potter family was primed for this sort of turmoil, and it is frankly a strange sight to behold. I encourage you all to, if you're interested, check out the description box down below and read some of the court documents. There are portions that either felt too
like, murder in and of itself is pretty mundane, especially over, like, unrequited love, but the lengths at which Janelle went to more or less pull a false flag attack on herself to justify murdering people she felt deserve it because they unfriended her on Facebook is fucking wild. And I'm glad all the people involved got their just desserts. That chapter did a video on this one as well, and to this day Janelle refuses to admit that she made it all up, and she actually lifted the persona Chris from someone she went to school with named Chris. She just happened to make up, like, all the details.
superfluous or unimportant to add to the video, but are nonetheless very interesting to read. If you've made it to this portion in the video, let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you want to see more of our videos and your recommendations, consider liking and subscribing. And if you have a topic you would like to see us cover, email me at dreading.official@gmail.com with all of that.
But yeah, Dreading has done a lot of videos over the years on crime. He's done deep dives on Chris Watts, he's covered Karen Reed, he's covered Sarah Boone, he's covered all sorts of narcissists like Ezra McCandless. Betty Broderick, people who could just do heinous things and be like, yeah, I'll just like tell people what happened and they'll believe me. And it never works. Some of the earliest videos I covered were dreadings, and they just happened to be racist white people who shot black people and were like, oh yeah, it was self-defense. They were playing loud music and they were advancing towards me in their car. Or they happened to be in a handicapped parking spot without the right tags and I felt threatened, so I shot him in cold blood. You know, just racist Florida things, you know? And they all thought they could get away with it by taking the stand and talking in their own defense, which that's not how it works. Sarah Boone did that. Robert Tellez did that. That was the politician in Vegas who murdered a journalist because he didn't like what they were saying about him. It's truly wild. Back to Pokemon. We're going to take on the Brendan fight, then we're going to do Safari Zone. There you go. We grab Seed Bomb because I'm not going to hold loaded dice for Bullet Seed. This is going to be for the Crawdon. And then we hold a Fighting Berry because Superpower is going to hurt. Alright, very good. I forget if it's Metal Coat or not. Let's see. Level 40? Okay, we can make that work. We don't use Power Whip because it only has 90 accuracy. Alright, good. So, Ferrothorn is settled for Crawdon, Tinkaton is settled for Metacham, Mega Colossal is settled for Metagross. I'm gonna go Lucario, holding a Fire Berry for Exploud. Boomburst is still gonna hurt a lot, but it's not super effective. We have the Sand Slash for the Mega Sceptile. And then we want something for the Gardevoir. Realistically, it's gonna be Steel. Probably... no, because then it'll be 4 times affected by Focus Blast. So we'll go... Let's see. We're gonna go Sizor. And we're going to probably hold... let's see. We'll hold a Citrus Berry and we'll go Bullet Punch. Since Mega Gardevoir is really squishy on the physical side. I'm stupid? No. Yes, Adamant. And then level cap 68. Alright, Brendan, let's go. Yep, that's fine. I don't need Dark Pulse anymore now that I'm going to be doing physical. We'll go Drain Punch for sustain. Alright, we can make this work. Save. I'm a little sketched about the Colossalite, but it's the only Steel Fire Pokemon I have. It becomes Steel because Mega, and I don't have Heatran, which would be the other one. I spent about an hour doing code redeems, resetting, and I never got Heatran. So this is going to be one of the harder E4s insofar as not having a fire type is going to absolutely blow. And as much as I want to bring Colossal, it's 4 times weak to ground, which makes Lance going to be a real pain in the ass, you know. All right, let's see if we can make this work. We know it's going to get Stealth Rocks on the first turn, so I'm going to go Burn Up. Burn Up will remove the typing. Oh, we barely hold on. Huge, no Stealth Rock. Okay, so now Colossal is only Steel because Burn Up removes the typing. Okay, so this is Gardevoir. It's gonna be random move. So we go into Scizor. Bullet Punch. Huge. Exploud. Honestly, I'm gonna go Bullet Punch just to get some chip damage in. We die to Flamethrower. We go into Lucario. Close Combat takes out Exploud. Medicham. Honestly, we're gonna get some chip damage in again. It's locked into Close Combat. We're gonna go Tinkaton. We're gonna fake out into Play Rough. I want a clean swap here, so I think I'm just gonna try to Play Rough. That's fine. We go into Sand Slash with Icy Shard. It goes into Crawdaunt. Yumi, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for stopping by. We just got the Brendan in Mono Steel. It's been good. Thank you for stopping by. We finished a video that Dreading Crime and Psychology on YouTube did, where a sheltered young woman was unfriended on Facebook, so she convinced her boyfriend and her parents to murder them because she was able to be like, hey, by the way, all these people are abusing me and threatening to kill me, etc. And it turns out I'm just making up all of it. And she even invented someone named Chris who was from the CIA. And Janelle, through all her machinations, was able to convince her family members and her boyfriend to murder the people who unfriended her. They more or less all got life in prison. I think Jamie technically got 25, 2 sentences of 25 concurrent. And the mother and the father aren't overly healthy, so they're probably having a rough time in prison. All right, so Crawdaunt, we didn't want Sceptile to swap out, but it makes sense. So we're gonna go into Ferrothorn. This is Superpower. We're gonna go Seed Bomb. That was more than I would have liked. I don't love this. I think all its moves technically make contact, so we're gonna go Spiky Shield. I'm gonna hope I don't die to Icicle Crash, to Superpower. We get the Icicle Crash off. It does kill. Sceptile comes in, we're gonna Icy Shard. And Brendan down. All right, and we're back. I had to mute the music because I think it's K-pop and I don't feel like getting copyright striked. But I think it's either Elle or another male palace cat. There's a raccoon in an exhibit across the way. So the palace cat will do some climbing on the fence on its cage. And the raccoon will often do the same thing. Super adorable. Spider Manuel climbing up vertical surfaces. I love the twitchy tail, constantly trying to paw at the animal on the other side of the enclosure. Massive jumps, huge upper body strength. Look at the way those Pete's climb onto the fence. Very cute. Truly some of God's finest creatures. Look at him go. He's scaling the wall. It's like Attack on Titan, but adorable. And that underbelly is so soft. I've actually seen people, they've found ways to scratch the cat's underbelly. It's been zookeepers basically like, oh, hey, I'm gonna feed you. So you distract them with food and then you get some belly rubs in. And as long as they get food, they're like more or less okay with it. But it's still risky because they could like scratch you with their hind claws, you know? So yeah, very agile, very climbing. You love the orange Pete's. The way the tail just dangles and twitches because they will use their tails to distract their prey in the wild. All right, so that was a good bit of fun. We also have... Let me find several. I'm not sure which palace cat this is, but I like that they have a little perch on the fence. This might either be Lotus or one of the other Flower 5, because Tabby is the grandmother of them. And from what I remember, one of the Flower 5 can see across the way to where Tabby's exhibit would be. Tabby is at least 16 years old, and she's living her best life more or less in retirement. She's still technically at a zoo, but her enclosure is no longer open to the public. Yes, absolutely. Old gal. She is the oldest known palace cat in captivity, which really pisses me off when a palace cat dies and they're like 8 or less. And they're like, oh yeah, they died of old age. No, bullshit. They died because of neglect, or they died because you couldn't be bothered to take care of them, etc. And I'm not going to say which zoos have done that, but it rightfully pisses me off. And I love the way they stand on their hind legs. Featherless biped, absolutely a man. So, Yumi, what are you up to today? But yeah, super cute. Living their best life. Yes, very tiny legs and tiny arms, which is why they look like a T-Rex in that one photo. Welcome back, Taro. I hope you found food and water. We'll look at one more. Oh, okay. I forgot that you still have so many cats in the house. That's absolutely wild. Good on you doing the cleaning. And I hope the forever home that one of your kittens found ends up being a good one. All right, let's see what else. I think this is Grusha getting some enrichment with the box. Cats of all sizes be fans of boxes, whether they be sitting in it, or whether they just be using it as a scratching post. Awesome. I love that for you, Yumi, and I love that for the cat. That's kind of wild, Taro, that your parents had that many cats as well. Yes, pull the box. Oh, truly, some of God's finest creatures. You love to see it. This is my box now. So silly. Speaking of Kronk, I have a Samurott named Kronk because Taro thought it would be a suitable name. And it's going to be doing some work in the rematches because water helps offset some of the weaknesses that steel has. Sadly, HQ, I do not get that reference. Alright, now Safari Zone, there's a few encounters we need. Mainly Iron Treads. It's one of the better Paradox Pokemon. Yes, I do still have Kronk. I used Kronk against Sabrina because priority moves are a way to get around Trick Room. And yes, the Kronk reference. I don't get it, HQ. Alright, what do we have? Oh yes, Metal is gonna be big. That's absolutely coming to Elite Four. Because Iron Fist, the Elemental Punches, Double Iron Bash counts as a punch move. Let's see what else. There is a water steel type in here, but it requires a Mega Stone, so we won't be using that one. Okay. Well, when you say pull the lever, Kronk, it reminded me of like typical mad scientist has an assistant, and the lever is for like the experiment or something, you know? Like, Igor, fetch me the brain. All right, we go back to daytime. Also, you'll be proud to know that Hitchcock is still going strong. It being flying steel makes it immune to ground. Oh, I'm not? Awesome, I love that for us. Okay, so let's see what else. No. And no. All right then. Yoink. Yoink. Oh yeah, that's a move. We need to grab that. We already have all the Mega Stones, so I can ignore those. Yeah, Kronk and Hitchcaw are all quite good names. Oh yeah, we need that too. Whoops. Okay. Hell yeah, story time on cats. Let's take a look at the deep cat lore. Oh, Emperor's New Groove. Yeah, I can look that up. I'm going to continue reading the cat lore. Also, I knew you had a Fenrir, but I wasn't aware of you having a Fafnir. Does Fafnir crave kitten flesh? Yeah, that is so many cats. It's actually kind of wild. All right. Do we have one here? Oh, yes, Gimme Ghoul, finally. That's the other Ghost Steelmon. Favnir? Oh, okay. I've always gone with Fafnir because I think that's how I've seen it pronounced in Mech Warrior when I did Mech Warrior 4. Oh, I love that. It's so that's so adorable, Yumi. We love matching. I feel like there's only one name for this, and it may not even fit. Amazing chest. Yeah, that was a great story. It's very wholesome. 100 big chungus. We did it. Reddit. Breathtaking. That's actually kind of overwhelming, though, the sheer amount of animals. Like, I had a hard time taking care of one pet, my dog, much less 14 cats plus 2 dogs and then myself, you know? You have a large heart. There you go, amazing chest. And that'll be our Goldengo once we get to evolve it. Another thing Rad Red does that I love is Safari Zone is a normal zone. You don't have to worry about a time limit. You don't have to worry about rocks, bait, etc. It's way better than vanilla Safari Zone. Okay, no steel types. Yumi. More Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duels tonight. We do need to get that eventually. It's expanding force. I have like 1 or 2 psychic Pokemon. Aura Sphere, just in case more Mon than Lucario want to be able to use it. Gotcha. Oh, I didn't know you passed out. I am sorry to hear that. I've only passed out like once when trying to do stuff, and it's been some time ago. So I'm glad I haven't had to deal with that for a while. All right. All right, no more steel types. Wait. Is Iron Tread Cerulean Cave? I might be misremembering, and that would be awkward because I need Iron Treads. All right. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I'm glad to hear you're all right. So Iron Treads is sadly... Let's see. Cerulean Cave or Rock Tunnel. So we're not gonna have Iron Treads for a while. That blows. I do love the use of fun fact. I'm a big fan of fun facts, you know. So here's hoping you don't have to deal with more passing outs anytime soon. With it being blood pressure, are you on medicine that can help with the blood pressure, or would it cause issues? I know my mom takes medicine for her blood pressure, and it has other interactions with medicine she's already on. So that kind of makes it troublesome to resolve. All right. Now we're gonna take on the rematches. We're starting with Brock. Steel loses to ground, as you know, and flying loses to rock. So I am not sure yet how we're getting past this. Okay. I think I might have to bring in Togedemaru because it can have sturdy, which means I don't have to hold sash. It is 4 times weak to ground, which sucks, of course. That's why it's going to be important to have sturdy. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah, I don't know what POTS is, but hopefully you're able to find a diagnosis that's accurate, and thus you're able to get the treatment that you need. Okay. So let's take a gander at what Brock has. We can kill that, we can kill that. Rematches. Okay, so right off the jump, we're probably gonna have stealth rocks go off no matter what. So I'm either gonna defog or rapid spin to get rid of it. I'm gonna want someone who can special attack because Great Tusk is mostly physical defense. We can hold an item to bait the fake out. Yeah, having your partner there for you, that's huge. Yumi, enjoy your food. Thank you for the lurk. May your Yu-Gi-Oh stream go well, and may there be no passing out. And we are back. Also, thank you for the bits, Yumi. It's greatly appreciated. Alright. So now we're working on Brock rematch. We're gonna go with Kronk. We're gonna do a Scald, Mystic Water. We outspeed and we're gonna hope that kills. What's next? Omastar. We're gonna use Ferrothorn. And we're gonna go with Seed Bomb. And we're also gonna go Special Defense up because we need to not die. Okay. Yeah, we don't need to be fast. We also need to make sure we actually one hit, because if we don't, then it becomes faster because of weak armor. Okay. Actually, if I know that, we're just gonna go Citrus instead for the generic healing. Okay. Next would be Blood Moon Ursaluna. Blood Moon sadly doesn't count as a sound, so that's not ideal. I think I'm gonna save Lucario for the T-Tar. I need to be able to kill it in one hit because of weakness policy. So either I knock off, which I don't think Lucario can learn that. Yeah, I think we can make that work. And because everyone and their mom has a fire move or a ground move, we're gonna go with a Akka Berry. Okay, so yeah, we can make that work. Let's see what else. Honestly, I think I'm gonna use Scizor for Mega Aerodactyl. I'm never gonna outspeed, so I have a priority move instead, you know? So that will be... We're not gonna sash it. We're gonna go... Let's see. We'll go Citrus as well for generic healing. So the only two that leaves is basically Sandslash and Tinkaton. Okay, so I still need an answer for Ursaluna, and I still need an answer for Arcanine. I think for Arcanine, I'm probably gonna go Excadrill, or let's figure out who the other one is. Oh, that's certainly an experiment. It'll be interesting to see how long it takes. Sometimes when I would play games like Command & Conquer or other RTS games, I would put myself in a situation like that, and then I would spectate and watch how the AI goes about killing each other. So yeah, Ursaluna and Arcanine. Let's see. We don't have access to Great Tusk, Iron Shreds, so that basically means probably Excadrill. I could also go for the Aeol and Dugtrio because it does get Sucker Punch. Like, it has a low BST, but Sucker Punch is really useful to get chip damage in. And we actually would outspeed the Arcanine, which is kind of nice. So yeah, I think we do that. So we'll get rid of Sandslash and we'll get rid of Tinkaton for now. Let's see. Are all the factions set to random? I know you said you were playing on random and that's how you got the Bulgarians. Alright, so... Where are you? I gotta remember where he is. Ah, there he is, yep. Dugtrio with the fabulous hair. I think it's very funny. And then that leaves Blood Moon Ursaluna. I think I'm actually gonna hold a Chilean Berry due to how hard Blood Moon and Hyper Voice are gonna hit. Let's look at Steel types and let's go by Special Defense. Oh, okay. So that's an option. I could go Levitate, but what do I actually hit it with is the question, right? Let's see what else. You know what? I think I'll use Goodra. I'll go Goodra with a Shaka. I do have really high special defense. And then we have Giga Drain for sustain. I have Rain Dance. I don't think I get a priority move. Oh, okay, gotcha. I mean, there's certainly some fun to randomizing things. I don't randomize a lot, especially in this, because I like being able to plan around knowing X mon at this point will have Y move, you know? Okay. Yeah, I think we're gonna bring in Gudra. And then we are gonna want to hold Shaka. I don't think any of the moves make contact, so we're probably gonna end up changing its ability. That being said, I don't think the other abilities matter because it's Overcoat, which I'm already not gonna take damage from weather. And then it's Sap Sipper, none of them have grass. So I think I do stick to that then. So yeah, Shaka. We need Giga Drain to do big damage. So I think we're gonna... I think we'll be okay. Let's also put Rain Dance on it to get rid of the weather. That being said, that has to happen after Omastar dies because I don't want to give it a bonus in the rain. There we go. Alright, so let's see if we can make this work. Our lead is Kronk. We're relying on Scald. Actually, let's see if he gets Surf. Because I don't have Surf until I beat Koga. Sadly, no. Okay. Jukario with the Aka. Very good. This is for Titar. Doug Trio also with the Aka. This does need to change. Let's see what else you have. No. I hope he has Earthquake. This one isn't. Okay, this is technically fine. I mean, the level has to go up, but the rest of it's fine. Citrus is fine. Sizor is fine. This is also fine. The mix is Jover, so I will need to find a different one. Give me a second. Back to this one for a bit. Once it... Yeah. Alright. Lumber Camp. I am glad that it slows the AI down a bit. Hold on a second. I think I never got to play StarCraft, so when StarCraft 2 came out, I remember playing it for the first time. I'm doing my like herp-de-derp, set up the base, etc., and then all of a sudden I'm getting bum rushed by like AI being really fast. And then I remember doing multiplayer and just getting owned by Koreans having really good units like less than 5 minutes into the game. And I'm like, yeah, this is not for me. Yes. Yeah, it is weird that the AI is inefficiently doing lumber, but I don't know. I'm no Age of Empire expert. All right, let's see if we made this work. We may have to change up our lead if Kronk can't kill the Great Tuscan one hit, because we do not want Stealth Rocks going up at all. And because it's a rematch, it's permanent sand. We can technically get rid of it with Rain Dance, but we may never get that off because Gudra is really slow. All right, save again, and go team. We do outspeed. Apparently we don't outspeed. So that's a reset. According to the docs, I outspeed, and I do not outspeed in the game. So we have to reset, and we have to change the nature. I hate that. That probably is a known strat, but I don't know. Okay. We'll go timid. Actually, no, we'll go, we'll go naive, because we don't care about special defense. So yeah, the docs aren't always right. Most of the time they are, though. Alright, save again, and go team. Yep, it knew it would kill, so it swaps out. What really sucks here is Omastar, and I don't know how we're gonna beat this. I think I'm just gonna go Flash Cannon and hope it kills. Nice. So Omastar's down, that means we can set Rain Dance later and not care. We're never gonna outspeed here, so I'm just going Aqua Jet. We're gonna come in with Sizor, and we're going to Bullet Punch. He runs away into Great Tusk. Sadly, Great Tusk is gonna get Stealth Rocks up now. So we need to hard swap into Ferrothorn. Seed Bomb. Not ideal. Mach Punch kills. I'm no longer Sash, and I hate that. We're not gonna outspeed. Okay, Doug Trio. Oh, I hate that. Even with Barry, I die in one hit. So this is not ideal. Okay, we might be able to take him down here. Yep, okay, good. Close combat. Not what I wanted to see. I don't think this kills. Yeah, he outspeeds. So, not bad, but I didn't have a way to deal with something when they swapped out. So, we'll try it again after the ad break. I will see you all soon. VOD friends, lurkers, everyone who's stopped by to keep me company, thank you for being here. Okay. All right, Meow, and we're back. Let's see if round 2 actually gets the job done. All right. We changed it up a bit. Go team. Oh, I forgot that it had close combat. So yeah, that is not gonna work the way I wanted it to. Oh, I am not a fan of that for us. So I have to hold Chopple, then it looks like. Okay, that's gonna make this even more difficult than I would like. Worst case, we bring in Hitchcock to deal with the Great Tusk. But that's fine. Set Stealth Rock. We do have a Mon to get rid of Stealth Rocks later. I think it's gonna close combat. No, it goes knock off, so now it can be super effective. I hate that for us, but I'm hoping +2 defense will be enough to kill. Okay, we hold on. Nice. So sadly, this is probably Vacuum Wave. I'm gonna make it kill me so we can get the clean swap. Okay? We're going to defog. No more rocks. We are gonna be outsped. I am gonna go into Gudra. This will get some health back. Sadly, not enough. You hate to see it. Close combat's gonna kill. Aerodactyl. We're gonna go Sizor. It's not gonna be enough, but it's gonna be a good bet. Okay? Aqua Jet doesn't have a priority move. Aerodactyl down. Omastar. One of the Mon I had for this is dead, so that's not ideal. The Shell Smash. Ah, you hate to see it. This, I don't think, was the answer. As much as I wish it was. Okay. Because we still have Arcanine left, and I don't have... And it has Sash. So... We are faster. But this is going to be weakness policy. Oh, we did get a burn. Maybe that'll help offset. It does not. So, what I wanted to do... That was not the strat. Okay. So I'm gonna bring in Corviknight, and we're gonna see if we made that work instead. We're gonna save the Ferrothorn for Omastar. And we're gonna take out Dugtrio because he's not doing anything. Okay. And then we're gonna bring in Corviknight. Castle Age, okay. How far is Castle Age as far as the ages go? I'm sorry to hear that they stole your sheep, but I'm glad they more or less have no military, so you can probably do Operation Mutton Chops and get your sheep back. Oh, okay. I don't understand, you're right. Oh, okay, right, I forgot. Alright, let's see. We want to bait. We want to bait the knockoff. So we're gonna throw on a shark beak. AI in games is famously known for cheating. So while I think it's interesting and possibly worthwhile that you're taking the time to watch the AI. What they do may not necessarily help you because they get like unlimited resources and can see everything, you know. Even more so since you know you have 100% map reveal. Alright, let's see if we can make this work. Save again. Alright, go team. So we're gonna do a wing beat. It does stealth rock, that's fine. We have a mon to defog. Okay, Aerodactyl. We are gonna come in with Sizor. Bullet punch. I need to, well, no. I want to defog, but I can't because if I defog, it'll just stealth rock again. So I think I'm just gonna bullet punch. And I'm gonna bullet punch again. Awesome, so now we can defog. Granted, I'm not gonna be able to because this thing's faster. So I think I just have to go for the priority move, break the sash, because it has rock head. So recoil moves don't affect it. That lets us bring in Cromp to Aqua Jet. Goes into Omastar. Omastar gets weak armor off, which I did not want to see. We're going to go in with Ferrothorn. Seed Bomb for the kill. This is probably Vacuum Wave. Let's see. Oh, okay, good. Blood Moon, I think, can only be used every other turn. So this is a good time to pivot. Or not. We still have our Shuckaberry. Nice. T-Tar. It won't have the boost anymore, which is nice. I need some health back. Oh, double D dance is kind of scary though. It's okay though because we have Aqua Jet. It will kill itself with Iron Barbs. I wanted to see what it would do. And Arcanine, not what I wanted to see because this is probably Wild Charge. Oh, I hate that for us. I actually thought I had this one, and it turns out I did not. Alright, so that was almost a win, but I messed up somewhere, and I'm not sure where, so we're gonna run that back. Alright. We're actually also gonna go Brave Bird because Great Tusk doesn't have Sash, so that'll do more damage. Alright, let's see if we can make this work now. X plus 1 time is the charm. We're gonna do a Home Claw. Brave Bird. Well, at least he didn't get Stealth Rocks up, so that's kind of big. Let's go Sizor. We're gonna Bullet Punch to break Sash. Not what I wanted to see. Seed Bomb. did way more than I thought. Oh, that's because I don't have Shaka anymore. That was a sell on my part. This is not it. This is not the run. Too many are still alive. Yeah, too many are alive. Okay, so yeah, this is not the trick. All right, let's see. All right, let's... If we don't beat Brock rematch by the ad break, we will pick up where we left off tomorrow. Okay. Protecting the Arcanine. Nice. I think I have to let him go down. We live. That's mildly surprising. We don't live that, though. Alright. Alright, good. Sizor. Okay, good. Okay, Arcanine down, that's huge. Great Tuska's still up. I do think I outspeed, but I don't want to risk it, so we're just gonna go Volt Punch. I was wrong. Volt Punch was not the answer. Aqua Jet. I need to hit it as hard as I can, because weakness policy is gonna go off no matter what, you know? Okay? Nice. That crit 100% mattered. And we got Brock. So starting tomorrow, we will do Misty Rematch. Brock was harder than I expected, but considering Steel loses to Ground, and Steel loses to Fighting, and Steel loses to Fire, it's not really that surprising that Brock Rematch was hard. Alright. We're gonna find someone to raid out now. VOD friends, lurkers, everyone who stopped by, such as HQ, Yumi, Taro. I'm scrolling up to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Thank you for doing so. I hope everyone has had a great Monday, that they enjoyed the stream. VOD friends and lurkers, thank you for being here as well. I wouldn't be here without any of you, and I greatly appreciate you being willing to spend your time here, whether you chat or not. We are going to find someone to raid. Before I do that, though, we're gonna do like one more Palace Cat video because they are adorable. And, well, you know, that kind of says it all, right? This is Posy. He's gonna do a heckin' big sniff on the camera. This was his 3rd birthday this year. And no problem, HQ, don't worry about it. He has a little brother named Tashi, and Tashi, his name was auctioned, the rights to name him, and it was like $12,500, I think, for the starting bid or something. But we love that because it goes to making conservation of Palace Cats better. So adorable. Such a silly man. Posy also likes to sit in his little wicker basket. Which is probably where he went after he flipped the camera over. So adorable. He's such a silly man. While the ad does its thing, I'm gonna find someone to raid. Okay.
The mantle knows where it is.
Alright, we did find someone to raid. And since I mentioned Posy and his basket, this little text-to-speech meme is actually of Posy. I've looked at it before. It's a classic. You got the Pete's, you got the tail, you got the underbelly. Super adorable.
At all times. It knows this because it knows where it isn't, usually nabbing. By subtracting where it is from where it isn't, often a cozy EB spot, it gets a Snoob's deviation. The whisker subsystem uses these deviations to generate gentle honks, to guide the manual from a position where it is to a position where it isn't, usually a warm nabbing spot, knowing it will end up EB and sleepy as ever. So, the position where it is becomes the position it wasn't, and keeping its Pete's warm on its tail, the position it wasn't, is now the position it is. If this makes the mantle EB and sleepy, it's all part of the plan. If the mantle finds itself where it wasn't supposed to be, it just curls up and nabs. The manual guidance system ensures that, whether it's EB or sleepy, the manual is always where it needs to be, even if it isn't sure where it is.
Yes, that is absolutely summer. You can tell because there's no snow, but they're not a giant murder ball of fluff. They slimmed down dramatically during the summer. I have another picture of some in the summer. This was posted to the monocord. Let's see if we can find it. There we go. That's a wild mother palace cat and at least 3 kittens. I forget her name, but the joke is she looks like Hugo Weaving from The Matrix. And yes, this is absolutely in the summer. Truly some of God's finest creatures. And I love that there's photographers and various conservation agencies willing to put in the work to get the photographs of the Meownwell. Also, from that Texas Peach copy pasta, that's where I got the whisker subsystem. It's a good bit of fun, you know? So, yes, we did find someone to raid. They're doing a Nuzlocke a Rad Red. Hopefully they actually allow raiders and it's not like follow only or sub only nonsense. I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you for being here. Take care. Stay safe. We are going to get through this. Okay, so... Hugo Weaving is the guy from The Matrix. He played Mr. Smith. Hugo Weaving, I believe, also played the the Guy Fawkes mask guy in V for Vendetta. But yes, it is truly excellent. And I love that for us. Let's see how their Nuzlocke is going. Hopefully it's going well.
Hands up a barrel. Welcome in, Raiders.